And howdy, folks. Welcome to Adventures in Alberon. This is our 5th edition Dungeons & Dragons game, running for a little over a year now. I'm Joe, the Dungeon Master, and joining me, as always, I have Matt, Miles, Ali, and Tina. We have a couple of announcements before we get started, but I do want to get started pretty quick because we got a lot of good stuff to do tonight. First of all, Dibidoop, of course, the amazing artist on Instagram who does a lot of the art that we've done recently. They are responsible for the painting The Flight of the Ironhawk, a couple of other little kind of like moments here and there. We have something else coming hopefully soon. Actually, we got to finalize the details on that, but I have a couple of ideas, especially now. And then also next week, we are not going to have our regular scheduled Adventures in Alberon. Instead, we will be doing an original one-shot called A Tome in the Desert. Playing with us, we are going to have our very own Matt and Tina, alongside a very special guest from Fateful Encounters, which I'm actually wearing the shirt of right now, Ashley Duke, who is an amazing dungeon master, a shirt designer, an occasional cosplayer. So we're super excited about that. Make sure to check that out. That is going to be next week at 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, in place of session 42. That's going to be the week after, because Matt and Miles will be, Miles and Ali will be out in nature, camping and stuff. Actually, I prefer it to be Matt and Miles. That's going to be it. So, no. But Matt and Tina will be here with Ashley and I. It's going to be a super cool, deserty kind of Tomb Raider adventure. It's going to be a lot of fun. So check that out. And then the music that you can hear, the sound effects and things like that, those are provided by Sirenscape, which is a great digital tool set that has a load of music and kind of ambient background sort of things happening. Definitely a super cool tool set to use for any dungeon master or player, or if you just want to hear the sound of lightning bolts throughout the night. A great tool set for that. One other thing that we have going on, I am on call this weekend, which means that there is a chance that I will need to take a call and kind of just jump off this. We might have to run to a break real quick, but so far it has been a quiet weekend, so we'll see what happens. I also want to say hi to Talon. Thank you so much for hanging out. Thank you for the bits as always. Always awesome having you here. But with that, I think that is all the announcements that we have for this week, unless anybody else has any. So we can jump right into our recap. Last time that we played, Finger Gang, you finally reached the Ring of Gold, the upper tier of Kol Taram, this massive dwarven citadel that exists within the hollowed out space in Mount Taram. You saw a kind scale for the first time, this massive purple dragon, longer and more lithe than you'd expected, more cat-like. You saw it absolutely destroy Smashjaw, the dwarf that you guys had talked your way past, literally biting him in half before warning the rest of the Ring of Gold that people that do not belong should not reach the Golden Terrace. You, all being people who do not belong and destined for the Golden Terrace, found that to be somewhat disappointing. You went back down into the Dawnfather Ziggurat and discovered a room that had a variety of different doors, some marked and etched into the stone with different symbols, one actually labeled properly. You also found in that space a small wombat named Doug, gray fur and actually very small for a wombat, 25 pounds. Initially a little bit aggressive, but Guntir, being for some reason very good with animals, able to calm him down and gain his trust. For the time being, you are accompanied by Doug, but we'll actually get back to him in a moment. You guys, while taking a bit of a rest, Guntir, you decided that you were going to go fishing for kobolds, utilizing high-strength fishing gear, a small crumbled berry, and a massive hook. You attempted to fish for kobolds. It didn't work exactly as you had wanted, but you decided, gathering them underneath you, just dropping a variety of daggers and different things, not the most effective strategy. But you were faced with another opponent in that room, an aura-charged golem of some sort, able to fire some kind of energy at you, able to slam you down into the ground, This is a massive creature that you were just able to escape with the help of Morwen. You were able to retreat, regather a little bit of strength. Helia disappeared into the Ring of Gold and gathered supplies for all of you, including a change of clothes for Guntir, who was otherwise sporting a very colorful ensemble. At the moment, you have all gathered around or dropped into a room scattered with debris. Upon a raised platform, Doug the Wombat is now laying down, curled into the crook of the dead dwarf's arm. The wombat trembles and emits a low, soft squeak, almost hog-like if it wasn't so high-pitched. Around you, there's a smoky gloom that obscures many of the tools, either on the tables within this platform or elsewhere. There is a cabinet in this room as well, you'd remember. There is an empty door that leads out to sort of like a 15-foot-long passageway, and then smoke and what you guys know to be sort of this hollowed-out space beyond that goes down the front of the Dawnfather ziggurat. What do you want to do? So I believe it's Guntir and Morwen in this room itself, alongside this very, very sad wombat. I believe, Heinrich, you were up at the top. I don't know if you've made your way down yet.
I guess.
Did we climb down with my
You and Guntir climbed down with your rope, yeah.
I'm gonna walk out of it.
I feel
Okay.
like I would slowly start to descend while keeping an eye out in the room. Because
Okay,
it's dark
so-
in here now, you said, right? It's no longer
It is
lit.
dark.
Okay.
There are, through the doorway, through the smoke and the clouds and sort of this very much like constantly burning interior that is the Ring of Silver, there are torches and other light sources on the exterior wall. And so you do get like a faint kind of haze. I would say, Shae, for you looking down into this space, it is very hard for you to see
I feel like I
if you are
stayed
not
with
wearing
Helia.
your mask.
I
Huh?
think I stayed with Helia. I don't think
Yeah,
I
you
got-
guys are up top still, but were you to look into this space, this is a very dark space. For the rest of you with dark vision, still difficult to see, but you can make out enough detail so that you're not like a hazard to yourself walking around. It will take investigation to really find anything here.
I'm gonna try to pet Doug, offering him my comfort. Be like, "All right, buddy. There's no time for grieving. We've got to keep moving." And
Make
then
an
I'm gonna-
animal handling check. Yeah,
All right.
you're so good. You and Doug are good friends. And welcome. Bob.
That's a 19.
19, same as you got last time. Okay, you approach now this platinum beard and flowing locks just kind of gently wafting in the smoky space. And as you approach Doug, initially you reach your hand out, and Doug, you hear the kind of and he draws away, kind of burrowing almost into this. And you can see the body itself at this point kind of stiff, just kind of like moving. And as you reassure Doug, you can see this kind of initial this wombat is very hesitant to leave this creature that you can almost assuredly assume is his owner or was his owner. But as you hold out your hand, Doug very, very softly lets out another little squeak and then waddles over and you kind of just leans into you. And you could feel this wombat is like shaking, trembling, and there's this soft kind of grunt repeating, almost like a guinea pig sound.
I'm gonna pick him up, put him on my shoulder, and then I want to inspect the body, see like how this thing done him in.
Make an investigation check. Morwen and Heinrich, you now reach the bottom of this rope and drop into this sort of crumbled space. Immediately behind you, there is this almost either a tool or a weapon of some kind, and then the rest of the room with Guntir kind of up on a platform, you're just kind of rifling through a body as you might expect.
That was a 15.
15. Okay. Morwen, you were doing something?
Yeah, I want to check out the table where I originally saw that like disc thing.
Sure.
Whatever.
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. You make an investigation check, Guntir, as you're digging through. So first of all, you notice immediately the robes that this dwarf is wearing, though they are singed. You can see areas where it appears as if like lightning had kind of struck this creature before its face was just slammed into the ground, which almost assuredly is the cause of
Just-
death.
Yeah, so it probably got zapped by the same thing that attacked me.
You can intuit that. You do see that the robes themselves kind of gray, and you do see, although stained with now kind of browning and drying blood, there is the symbol that you've seen previously of the anvil with this sort of fire above it. Probably worked in some capacity within this ziggurat.
Okay.
You kind of dig through the pockets. You do find what looks like a very makeshift. It looks like a dagger at first, and you kind of hold it out, and it's almost like a shiv. And you can see little bits of stone dust on the tip of it. You also dig through, and you can find what looks like a small, like a cinched coin purse. Although as you kind of move it, it seems to be full of something that is not metallic. And then also digging through, you said, what was the investigation check?
The investigation was 15.
15?
Yeah.
That is what you find.
All right. I'm gonna open up the coin purse and see what's in that's non-metallic, because I'm like,
Okay.
oh, must be. I think I know what it is. It's probably little geodes or something that he chipped away with the shiv. That's what.
And
I
as you pull it open, it is full of stones, but not geodes. Looking at them, they are a few different kind of colors and hues. A few of them glint out metallic. And as you sort of shift them aside, moving them around, they're beautiful examples of different kinds of stone. For you, immediately things jump out. You see like a little piece of maybe alabaster, and in another spot, almost like a perfect sphere of onyx. These are like maybe stone samples, and looking around the room in this ruined space of broken stone discs, it looks as if maybe he had saved a few of the samples. And as you kind of shift through again, you recognize this little metallic kind of, and looking in, you can see there is, as it turns out, one Arcana tile, similar to the ones that you had gotten before. This is like a piece of iron with a single rune etched into it. Just one second, I'll pull up my Arcana tiles here. And it seems to be, I'll have to send you a picture of it in the lore because it's on my master sheet with all of them, which you do not have.
Okay.
But it's an Arcana tile of a roughly similar tier to the ones that you've experienced for the most part.
Does the symbol, is it something I can recognize as dwarven in origin?
I mean, you've already recognized that these were
'Cause-
dwarven made, so they
right.
definitely have dwarven elements, but it's kind of it
Doesn't mean anything in any sort of dwarven dialect that I would know.
Make a history check. It make it an advantage. It definitely pulls at your memory something about the term.
Ooh, not great. That's a 6.
Something about it. I mean, it's so basic. It really feels like something that you should know.
It's on the tip of my tongue.
But because it has been twisted to this magical use, there's an element of dwarvish to it and an element of arcane stuff that doesn't really make sense to you as a cleric.
I bet Heinrich will know. I'm gonna put it away.
Okay.
And be like, so this was your owner, huh? To Doug on my shoulder.
And at this point, Doug, still trembling, instead of squeaking, actually kind of goes quiet.
All right, buddy. Well, gonna give him like final rites and give the body sort of like a proper.
Okay. So Guntir, you begin to kind of stand over this body quietly and begin to think about some of the things that you may have learned in a previous profession. While you're doing that, Morwen, what did you roll for your investigation check?
16.
And what were you looking for specifically? You were
I was checking out the table that I originally saw the disc on.
sure. Okay. So
Specifically the disc or table.
sure. Going over to the table that you had originally seen, the sort of what looked like you're talking about the stone disc?
I think so. Yeah.
Okay. So up on the platform, there are two small tables and a large one. The large one, Gunter, you had originally seen this dwarven machinery on that then became this massive creature. The other two are scattered with tools. And Morwen, as you kind of dig through them, there are, give me just one moment to pull this up. It is in one of my many these things. A couple of things. So off the top of my head, I do remember that you can find all the components that would constitute a blacksmith's tool set. There are hammers, there are tongs. Okay, you kind of roll them up. Matt, there's some very loud tapping for you. You would also find. You said it was a 15?
16, I think.
16? Okay. You find a brass sextant, which is like this, you would know as a nautical person, a way to sort of chart courses while at sea. It is like a very intricate brass instrument that is almost prism shaped and very much like a wireframe device. You find on this table it's either raw or broken bits of ruby. And then you can also find there are a couple of these like stone discs. There's actually 3 of them, and pulling them apart, you don't read the language that they're written in, and they're really weirdly kind of transcribed. You can see in the middle there is a slightly different element of stone or metal in each, but they don't immediately make any real sense to you. One of them is pretty shiny.
These are like portable things. Like I can pick them up and bring
which is
them to
about
Gunter,
this big.
just
Yeah,
throw them in
it's
a
like it's like the size of a CD-ROM. Yeah,
Okay.
dating myself. but
These.
Yeah.
That makes me laugh.
I'm gonna,
Makes all of us.
I guess, poke around until I notice that Gunter is available to check out these CDs.
Okay. Heinrich, what are you doing? You're now down within this space.
So within the room, I feel like the dropping down point is more or less in the center, if I'm not mistaken.
In the top left of that room. So,
So there's those 2 little nook areas, and then that
Mhm.
cabinet thing.
Yep.
Carefully, without disturbing anything, kind of like walking around a museum with my hands behind my back kind of thing, just like
Sure.
appreciating or whatever. I'm gonna go and look at, I guess, the closest thing, which either would be, I think, the top left full alcove or the cabinet.
Which one do you want to check out? There, you're in that little.
I'm just gonna like make a little bit of a round. And just
Okay,
try to,
yeah,
like,
make an investigation check.
see if
Is there
I can
anything
find,
you're?
Well, I had never been here, and I never saw the fight that Gunter had. I just heard the banging.
Sure.
So, like, I don't really know that anything is absent from the room. So I'm
Okay,
just gonna
yeah.
go try to, like, discern if there's any machinery or technology that would be attached to the harm that befell Gunter.
Okay, sure. Make an investigation check. Yeah.
Oh, fuck, natural 20. So that's 25.
Natural 20. Okay.
Starting off okay.
So, Heinrich, you begin to kind of investigate this space while Gunter is looting a body and Morwen's starting to immediately go towards shiny things, and you see Morwen just take something and immediately pocket it. You turn your attention to the room and the environment. You begin to kind of walk, and you see in the alcove that you come down into, there is this complicated looking device. Elements of it are a little bit unfamiliar to you. It's not something that you've seen necessarily. However, you recognize that it could certainly be used as a weapon, but it's probably there as a tool. You look at the wall opposite of it, and you notice there are areas that are kind of scored as if struck by lightning. And looking at this, it does seem to be these 2 copper rods that go out in these sort of twisted coils around them. And looking at the space and kind of looking across and seeing the various tools and everything, it looks as if maybe this was some way of imbuing things with the property of lightning. And as you kind of walk over to the cabinet and look down, you can see these various samples of bits of metal and stone. And you're beginning to put together the picture that this was a place, and looking at the various empty kind of stone shelves around the room, this is a place that at one point, probably very recently, stored dozens, if not hundreds, of different stone and ore samples from around Dominion, perhaps further. And these samples and different properties were being tested, this room was used to test these samples and kind of figure out what could best be used, or best how these things might be utilized best. And as you get to this cabinet, you can see it is stocked. This is like the one thing, of course, that was not touched by the kobolds, is stocked with different, what look like leather ledgers, various kind of books and things. And as you kind of look at them without even opening it and touching it, you can see probably, I mean, so it is written in Dwarvish and would translate to you and reshift each letter kind of turning into common. You see each one is a ledger of these samples and kind of marks the bits of research that have been done about them. Without opening it and looking into them, you couldn't really tell much more beyond that within this specific thing. You also do notice there is one kind of book that is out of place. And it appears to be like a novel of some kind, maybe fiction, and that seems to have been kind of just left there quickly. But the others seem to be maybe ledgers of something. And as you look around, you are seeing that there are tools on the various tables for tinkering, for experimenting with different sorts of metals. You can see that there are on the one table that is down, not on the platform. It's sort of like a 10 by 5 table. There are little bits of maybe what look like vials of acid. And then far off with a natural 20 in the right corner, you can see there is what looks like a similar device, although this seems to be more designed to imbue things with the properties of fire.
Sure.
The final thing that I would say that you do find amongst all of this, there is one of these samples that is kind of broken, and you are taking very, very good care not to touch or run into anything. And so you are kind of looking at the ground, and you do find what is sort of like a sample of, I mean, you can read it. So looking at it, you can actually see the origin of this is deep within Kol Taram. It is within the Circle of Stone. And this is like a sample of mithril. Extraordinarily shiny. This is something that, like, it, as you look at it, even in the darkness, the faint light gleams off of it. And so you do find that as well. Can't hear what you're saying.
Can you not?
Now I can.
Okay, sorry. I'll stay for it.
No worries.
So I think I'll take the mithril sample because
Sure.
mithril's nice.
You can
it's handy.
add a sample of mithril.
Right. Is there a way to tell the location of its origin? Should I feel like trying to find it?
Yeah, the origin is right there. So very specifically,
Mhm.
it is from the Gold Glow lode in the Circle of Stone, which you know to be sort of like the it's a loose term for the massive mining complex underneath Kol Taram that sort of varies off into the east of the Undercity. I think it's actually picking up your this microphone.
That shouldn't be happening.
I can't really tell which is which, but it's very crackly.
Now, is that any better, or is it still going?
Yeah, it seems a little bit better. I don't know which it's going from, but either way, seems
All
better.
right. Okay, so what was the name of the spot that it was from specifically within the Circle of Stone again?
The Gold Glow lode, LODE.
Okay. Well, that's cool. That's good to know. So lightning imbuing on one side, fire imbuing on the other, cabinet with research. And that's just on the northern part, or is that more or less the aside from platform area?
That's on the northern part. As you kind of go down, if you want to, you have a natural 20. The other two nooks, they appear to be, for the most part, empty. There's broken samples and stuff in them, but they don't have any kind of equipment. You would imagine they were probably used for storage more than anything else, based on just kind of scuff marks that you can see on the floor. Whatever was stored here is probably amongst the debris in the room. Yeah, breaking up. But Shae, while all this stuff is happening, is there anything that you wish to do? You're kind of back within that space before the staircase going up to the gem that is radiating light to the rest of the ring of gold. Is there anything that you want to do while you're waiting?
Is Helia still awake?
Her eyes are closed. I would make a perception check.
It's a 23.
Yeah, Helia seems to be awake. She's definitely maybe not feigning sleep, but is not giving the active impression that she is outwardly observing things. You can tell. You mean you look at the eyes, you don't see. You see like a pretty regular blink behind them. She's not asleep.
Helia.
You can see one eye opens.
A question, if you don't mind.
You can see she sits up straight from her position. Of course.
I've heard tell that there are factions of resistance within Kulturam. Do you know where they are within the city proper, or are they all in the Undercity?
You know, I've said this a few times at this point, but I'm not from Kulturam, so I'm not really familiar with the different areas. Within the Undercity, there is a sizable resistance. Those who fled Kulturam, they've put up their own bit of a base. There's the Bearded Consortium. They're magic users of some kind. We are there, and of course, we can offer quite a bit of resistance if we needed to. There is a group of tieflings that pass through, and they're up somewhere in the Ring of Silver, I thought. Which, Shae, I don't remember if you knew or not, but they're not there currently. I know that Heinrich knows that they're within the Halls of Atonement. I don't remember if Shae does. But
I think I might have overheard a bit of that conversation, but I don't think I know specifically.
Perhaps. And anyways, if there was any trouble within the Undercity, we would have maybe not reinforcements, but the factor of the stone giants to consider. They would certainly respond.
Yes. It was a long shot, but I was hoping you had some word or idea of where they might be if they still existed in the city proper.
That I couldn't help you out with.
Just thinking if we want a distraction, we're gonna need something big. But
Well, I will say, well, maybe not the wisest idea. Guntir can make a pretty big distraction.
again, I think I'll go back to meditating, but not.
Okay, so you're doing basically the equivalent of pretending that you're looking at your phone on the subway, so you don't have to talk to anybody.
Yep.
Sure. Okay. So you meditate. Helia kind of watches you for a moment, and you see out of the corner of your eye, she just kind of shrugs and leans back up and seems to kind of going back to doing roughly the same thing. But while this is happening, Guntir, you now within this space, is there anything that you want to do? You've investigated Doug's owner's body. You've now administered some final rites.
I think I'm gonna I want to take Doug out of the immediate situation of the dead body. So I'm gonna go investigate the rest of the room. I guess go see what Morwen's looking at.
Okay.
Be like, come on, buddy, let's go take your mind off things.
And as you walk away from the body, you do kind of feel within your sort of blonde hair, you sort of nestled into it now, but you can feel the head kind of turn and regard the body as you walk away. But
all right, you find anything good, Morwen?
Yeah, not too bad. We've got some.
It'll lean in and be like, that was his owner.
you can see Doug react to the sound, and as Guntir says this, you would imagine Doug does not speak common, but you do hear a sad little
I give Doug a little pat on the head.
and his little wombat head kind of goes down. But
But Okay. I'll just show Gunter what I found. Specifically the stone discs.
Sure.
just
So
gonna be
Gunter,
like- And then like you see the little ruby crumbs.
Ooh.
yeah. So you can see Morwen has found what looks like a shattered ruby. A quick estimate, given kind of your skill set, at one point was probably pretty valuable. And I would say, as a cleric, even there are certain spells within the training that you have observed that do consume materials, and this looks as if this ruby was perhaps used in that way.
Maybe run my finger along it. Yeah, this was used by magic ruby.
You can see like a little bit of blood coming out of Gunter's mouth because he just licked broken gemstone. It tastes weirdly like iron, considering it's ruby, but yeah.
Cool. All right, so
Yes. What about these
what
It tastes like.
also like iron. What do you got there? What's that? The
I don't know.
discs?
It's open, you
And as you
What
look
are
at
those
that, go ahead
discs?
and make a stone cunning check.
Ooh, I'm gonna come that stone.
Yeah, cunning stone.
Nice. That's a lot. 15 plus. That's a
lot.
24.
Okay, so looking at these stones, you can see that they are samples taken from around Alberon, not necessarily just Dominion.
Okay.
You see that there is one of them is a sample of magnetite, this sort of fairly useful iron ore, and you can see that hails from. You would know that south of Dungannon there is this sort of very, very nice little forest, and it seems to hail from there. You can see there is a sample of hematite, which is this kind of copper ore. It has a couple of different applications in smithing, and this particular one hails all the way from a place called Gath that you've heard of. And actually, I would say, Gunter, you kind of have the idea that it's not a terribly safe or probably settled place anymore. And then there is, and this you can see is actually behind almost like a slide of glass. It is this little, and at first you kind of confuse that for the sample, but underneath it there is just a little bit of cinnabar. It is an ore of mercury. It's toxic, but it does have uses for sure. It's fairly valuable.
Oh. I'm gonna be like, oh, so that one's mercury, that one's cinnabar, that one's magnetite, and that one's hematite right there.
Hematite, yeah.
Got hematite. Yeah, you got some good stuff right there. That one will kill you.
Which
So
one?
don't open it. The one in the case. Don't open that.
He says case, but like it's a film that's almost
Uh,
impossible to see. I mean, this is like Gunter, you've never seen a process like this, but it's almost as if somebody sprayed glass onto it. It fits the ore perfectly.
Okay, so it's like a spray-on adhesive kind of
As far as you
film.
know,
Oh,
sure.
okay.
Not.
Magic film. Okay. I'm like this one. I'm gonna take it, and because you have a bad history of opening things that you probably shouldn't.
To say I will happily let you have it because that's not safe with me.
Yeah. So
So yeah, you can add a sample
the
of.
cinnabar.
Yeah.
All right. The other two are those are fine though. That one.
What do I do with them?
Well, that one you could use for smithing, but I mean, yeah. And the other one, it's sort of like I'm jumping out on a limb here and saying that magnetite has some sort of magnetic property.
Strange. Gunter, you actually would know with that roll. Magnetite, yeah, it does have magnetic properties. It's generally a certain kind of ore that has exposure to electricity, generally through lightning. There's typically it is found around fulminites, which are these beautiful kind of spirals of glass that are formed when lightning hits sand. You can sometimes find this ore as a byproduct of that. And so, yeah, that is certainly interesting to you.
I'm gonna relay this information to Morwen when she asks. I would say
You're
like,
letting
well,
the magnetite and which other
the
one?
magnetite and the hematite.
Heinrich, did you end up opening that cabinet?
I was gonna walk back towards it and
Sure.
then mage hand it open and mage hand out the book.
Okay, so you
It's
hold
like,
out.
it's like extra level of like I want it, but I don't want to touch it.
Sure. You hold out your hand, and the symbols shift into life on your palm, and then kind of separate into this ghostly hand that reaches out. And easy enough, there's these two little copper, almost like knobs that are used to turn and pull out. And you can turn one, and it just opens quietly. Little bits of soot kind of fall off the glass. Looking into it, you see all these ledgers, you see this book that's out of place, and as you look at it, it's not a novel. It is handwritten, and you can see there's been care applied to add color to it even. But you can see in Dwarvish these runes, and they rearrange themselves, and you see in front of you, this is a manual for something called an ore charged golem. And as you kind of look through, if you want to look through it, you can see there are, this is something that is being designed within this space. It's supposed to be a tribute to the 300th anniversary of the Dawnfather Ziggurat. And this was a golem that, depending on the ore sample placed within it, would have a sort of a variety of abilities. And kind of reading through it as you look through, you can kind of see, based on what Guntir had said and kind of explained to you about this battle, this particular thing, you were very fortunate, had an iron sample within it. You can see it's handwritten and scrawled within the notes. There are sort of notes comparing a few of the properties of certain metals that have certain effects. It's still not fully explored. But yeah, you also find that in the very back there is sort of notes on how, should anything happen to the original creator, one might assume control of this golem.
Is there an instruction manual or like controls
It's-
and stuff?
Yeah, it's kind of like an instruction manual.
Cool. I feel like this is the thing that would make me just like stop and be like, Guntir, wait, sorry, Guntir, get over here.
Wow.
Come here.
Alright.
And Guntir
I'm-
turns a
I'm
long,
following.
flowing platinum kind
You
of
hold on to
swishing.
those, Morwen.
Okay.
Look,
Be stuffing him.
Guntir, look here.
What?
The thing that you described that attacked you, this looks like the manual for how to assume
Let me see
control
that.
of it. Sure.
I'm gonna,
Okay, you take it from
Yeah.
Heinrich's hands, and
and it's in Dwarven, right?
it is, yeah.
Okay, so I'm just reading it.
Okay. So taking a look at it, you can see all the stuff that Heinrich has seen.
Yeah.
What are you looking for? What are you trying to figure out?
I'm like, oh yeah, this sounds like the thing that attacked me for sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
And yeah, you can see it looked like it was this kind of iron effect that was applied to it. You can see there are notes relating to a couple of different things, and now you're beginning to realize these samples of ore in this room could have made for a very interesting encounter. I mean, you're both lucky and maybe in some ways a little disappointed, because this is I mean, there's hundreds of samples here.
Oh man, this would have been really great as a distraction if only someone had been able to stop it like 5 seconds earlier. If he had had some assistance from friends.
Where did it get to? Do we know? We can't hear it now, but now that we know how to control
My
it,
guess is that the kobolds who activated it took it down and are probably wreaking havoc on the lower levels. But that's just a guess, a hunch.
Is there?
and with the book, is there a way that I could assume how the kobolds are controlling it? Like,
Yeah, so
is
the
there a
book
way to, like,
actually
intervene in a way with who's currently controlling it.
So in the back, under the ownership section, it says The golem will serve until their owner falls, and then go inert, waiting for a new user to hold the mask portion. When they do this and insert an ore into the chest chamber, the golem will reform, imprinting on its master.
Huh. Is it a mask fragment?
And yeah, so you remember Guntir.
That was
when
the
you look
thing
down,
that they picked up.
Yes, that was the smallest of those kind of dwarven artifacts that were lined up on the table. And then you can kind of intuit the larger one was probably the chest cavity that the ore was placed inside.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So yeah, they did this, and I'm pointing to the back of the book. So now we could try to do that to them. I mean, if we just avoid the thing itself and go after these kobolds.
If we all need to take one down to assume control of it, then the rest of the kobolds would become less of an issue immediately.
Yeah.
I think this is the best way to do it. I don't like my dynamite idea anymore, because that would be a temporary distraction from kind scale, and then we'd probably be assumed, or probably be attacked quite quickly after she figures out it's just an explosion. Okay, turn around.
Yeah, this could cause some controlled havoc in a way that I don't think we could get otherwise. Well, I guess we have to ask Shae, since she's the commander, and everything that we do depends on what she wants us to do. And I guess Helia too, but she's a little more chill about it. She just does her own thing.
We could use all of our friends' help.
Worth noting, just so you guys know, I misspoke before. It was not a sample of iron that was within the golem. It was a sample of copper. You would know that the iron would cause a sort of poison breath effect. The copper is more of this lightning ability.
Huh. Iron probably would have been better, actually.
Is there a way that I can intuit from all of the ones that we have collected what their effects would be?
It has a few listed. So it does have iron, copper, silver, gold, carbon steel, and electromol listed.
Yeah, I'm gonna look at this list and grab as many samples of them as I can before we leave.
Interestingly, it doesn't necessarily specify samples. It just specifies ore. And the ones that you read, iron, fairly common, copper is a form of currency. You probably have that readily available. Silver has a magic feedback effect that would cause any kind of magic directed at the golem to, in part, be redirected back. And then gold creates this sort of brilliant beam of light out of the face of this golem that is sort of, it functions as kind of like a daylight, like a sunlight spell. And then carbon steel creates this sort of steam furnace effect through the chest. And then electrum seems to create a significantly more durable coating around the golem.
Okay. This has piqued my interest.
I would say go ahead and make a Arcana check.
That's an 18.
18. As you're looking through, you also notice there are little like kind of pencil and coal drawings, and you recognize within one of them there are these little sketched out things, and you're noticing now that the gauntlet to this creature, the right gauntlet, that final artifact that you had seen, it has a space in it for an Arcana tile, and so this is probably even further customizable.
Okay. I relay this to Heinrich as well. I say, hey, you know those tiles you got? You could probably put one in there as well.
Yeah, noted. I'll put the death one in it. Not really. Also, do I have those or does someone else have them? I don't think I have.
I thought you did. I thought they were in the bag. I thought Guntir had one of them.
Yeah, I think I have. I've given them to you, I think, to read them, and I think they were in the bag of stuff from the body that I spoke dead to.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 of them. Okay.
Huh.
While they're chatting, I'm gonna aside from the dead body, look around for more like shiny.
Make an investigation
Can I do
check.
that?
Sure.
More
15.
shiny.
15.
Show me the shiny.
Show you the shiny. Okay, one sec. Just so you guys know, also the working title for this room was the Orphanage, because it's where all the ore kind of go, little lost ores.
Oh my god.
And also Doug.
And also Doug. Oh, I didn't even think about that. That's great.
Oh, boo.
Rough.
Yeah.
Boo, Joe. You
Rough.
should have thought a little harder.
I know, I didn't think very
Just kidding.
hard.
I'm an asshole. I'm the one that pointed it out.
You
I should persuade him.
Yeah, let me turn down because now that machine is back in the alleyway.
Sure. So yeah, looking through this room, you can find, I mean, there's all these ore samples and some of them are pretty shiny, but you don't find anything necessarily shiny and valuable. You don't find like jewelry. You don't find any kind of cool little things. I would say with the 15, probably the coolest thing that you find is an adjustable wrench.
I take it.
Okay. Yeah. It's about 8 inches long, and it's shiny. It's heavy.
I'm gonna try to cast locate object by thinking, where could this ore golem have gone?
Okay. As you try to cast locate object, nothing happens. And you again remember, as you had laid witness for the first time on the Ring of Gold, you had seen up above at the very top this opening through which you could peer this huge storm cloud to which your heart had kind of leapt. And that kind of flashes back into your memory. But yeah, spell doesn't cast.
You okay there, Guntir?
Trying to think where this golem could have gone.
Well, I think you said it. That if we can't hear it, and this hallway down there seems to lead sort of to the outside, why don't we collect the rest of our friends and give them this idea and see how they all feel about it, and then go and.
All right, you want to go get them, or should I?
Okay. You're faster than I am, yeah.
Why don't you just bam.
I go up anyway.
It's too far.
Okay. As Guntir is trying to explain what he wants Heinrich to do, Morwen, you just up the rope. Shae, you all of a sudden, with your passive perception, kind of hear these very, very familiar padded footsteps as Morwen approaches.
Sup?
And you can see Helia actually from the corner of your eye pretending to kind of start for a second, but immediately kind of regain composure. Oh, Morwen, you're back.
I found ruby dust.
Did you find any rubies?
Nah, just dust.
Oh, well, ruby dust is good too, I reckon.
Yeah, let's get going. No, I'm just kidding. I tell them.
Where are we?
I tell them everything.
Okay, you relay everything that happens. Sure.
Everything ever that I've ever known. No, I'm just kidding.
Okay. You relay what you've learned about this sort of room, and Helia nods, kind of listening. She doesn't seem too terribly interested, but as you bring up this idea of utilizing the golem to cause a more permanent and lasting distraction, you could see she seems to think about it. I can't see any flaw with that idea.
Yeah.
It's a good one.
Thanks, I thought of it myself.
Make a deception check.
14.
She that's close. She sort of stands up and stretches out a little bit. You can see she's been sitting for the time that you guys have been gone. And she walks over and kind of puts an arm around your shoulder and leans in. And I would say, Shae, you can actually kind of hear this. It's right at the edge of your ability to hear, but with your keen senses, you do pick it up. Helia says, well, I guess what they say about the keen observational abilities of the Mud Brotherhood is true.
I turn red under my fur.
Okay, so no visible effect.
And it's not embarrassment, it's shooketh.
She kind of leans in just a little bit further and says, we really should be having that conversation. I'm very interested to know what it is that you know. We might have friends in common.
Best friends. No, sorry, I'm being weird. Okay, let's scoot down.
Okay.
Oh wait, right? Don't we want to scoot down? Yeah, I start scooting down.
Okay, so you begin to move. Helia looks over to you, Shae. Are you coming?
I suppose.
And as you kind of begin to walk with her, she still lingers for a moment and says, "Where's your friend?"
He'll be making his way to us sooner or later.
Should we leave maybe some kind of a detailed instruction? He's going to need a way to reach us, and if we're going to have trouble blending in, I can't imagine an Aarakocra here is going to have an easy time following us.
Yes, I've been leaving messages for him as we've gone.
Well, very well. You know your own business, then. And she turns and continues following Morwen. You follow as well?
At a distance, but yes.
Okay.
Well, I'm waiting at the bottom because I want my rope.
Okay. So you wait at the bottom.
I'm kind of
Helia
like
makes her way down.
yanking at it.
Helia makes her way down, kind of into the space. A couple moments pass, and then Shae. Shae, do you use the rope?
What's the distance to the floor?
55 feet?
Nope.
Okay.
Wait! Untie the rope! Untie the rope! Oh.
Quietly alighting onto the ground. The rope is still at the top.
Shae and be like,
Shae, you just hear the
Help
boing,
me.
boing, boing, the string or the rope going taut.
it's my rope.
Climb back up, untie it, and drop it, and then jump back down.
Thank you.
Okay, no problem. So you go up, untie
I
it.
hug the bundle of rope.
Okay. And Shae, you drop down quietly, seeing Morwen just embracing this kind of now a little bit tangled mass of rope. Helia,
Giant yarn ball.
yeah, sure, why not? Helia sort of approaches you, Heinrich, and seems to kind of peer beyond you at the sort of doorway going out to the exterior of the ziggurat. So where is this creature?
We gotta go find it.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was here
that
when
or
it
the-
attacked Guntir, and then that,
Comments.
he got beat up and retreated, and when we came back, it's not here anymore. Best guess is downstairs. Things like that don't just, like, vanish. They just walk out a door that is of an appropriate size.
Yeah, is there a clear door that it could exit from?
All eyes turn to the single door, about 20 feet tall.
Yeah.
Stooping
Probably
down
that
that
one.
this creature could walk through. It's probably, when it reaches up, it can almost reach that gap. It was able to pull you through.
Yeah.
This creature probably about 30 feet tall, 35 feet tall.
It probably went that way. And I start walking in that direction.
Okay, so
Hi.
Guntir in the lead,
Hello.
Mm-hmm.
then Morwen. What is the rest of the marching order? Guntir, Morwen, Heinrich.
I'm in the back.
Okay, so then Helia and Heinrich. So,
And Doug.
Guntir, I kind of have Doug on
Yeah,
you
he's on
currently.
my shoulder.
You're his
Chilling.
steed at the moment, so you
He's
make your
chilling.
way. Yeah, you make your way out and through the single door. The doorway itself is more of a passage, about 15 feet long, arched and 20 feet tall. And when you get to the exterior, you can see to the left and the right there is almost like a very, very narrow path, more of a molding or a sort of ledge than a proper path, less than 5 feet wide, but definitely traversable. You would imagine that large creature probably not. In front of you, there's just this drop off, and there is smoke. Make a perception check. There is just constant smoke coming through the space.
That is 25.
Okay. With the 25, you have to get over to the edge, and there is this kind of like wind that goes by carrying the smoke. It's astringent, it stings your nostrils, it gets into your eyes, but still you're able to peer through it, and you can see down at the bottom there are areas along the way that have clearly been damaged. Looking all the way down, you can see actually maybe about 100 feet. That was terrifying. maybe about 100 feet. Yeah, no, me too. But 100
is
feet
he
down.
okay?
Still not sure. But about 100 feet down, you can see that area that you had seen, that kind of maintenance platform, now kind of hanging at a strange angle. Part of it smashed through, and you can see at the very base, almost 200 feet down, there is this kind of like area where the stone floor that is consisted of most of Colterom in the Undercity is like smashed, an impact crater. You think that you can see a little bit of blood there as well. And then you can see, just as the smoke kind of resumes into the area, you can see there seems to be maybe a trail heading off and in the direction of the rest of the Ring of Silver.
I think it went this way. I'd point out. Well,
and for the rest of you behind, the rest of you behind Gunter, you just see him point down off the side of this, what is essentially a cliff.
And you said it was like 200 something feet down?
Roughly, I'd guess. And looking up Gunter with the 25, you can see there is this sort of like rope, maybe like 10, 15 feet up. There's like a wooden planked bridge with rope along it. And Heinrich, you would recognize this as the wooden planked bridge that went above, between the opening in the roof of that room and that sort of tent with the kobolds above. And now, Gunter, you listening, you can actually just make out to your right and up, there are maybe kobold voices. Just little bits. Little bits.
Okay. Are we going to pursue this thing through the war zone now? I mean, there's always a chance, and
maybe
they were sleeping ones. They were.
So they're not the same.
No.
Chances are this user's not far from the actual golem.
Right, and how long had we... Oh, we actually left a significant time.
It's probably been a couple hours.
It's been a long time.
At this point...
Yeah, we took a long rest between when you got attacked.
It has been... it's actually been 10 hours and 30 minutes since you saw that golem last.
So it really could be anywhere in the city now.
Yeah, but I mean, what options do we have right now?
Right.
And Gunter, it's worth noting, I mean, you saw that smashed crater, and then you saw, even from 200 feet, like a fairly definitive path. This thing is not a subtle creature. It is not being controlled by subtle creatures. No. It's not going to be difficult to track. It's more a matter of how far it's made it.
Well, seems like maybe it's pretty slow and clunky. Couldn't have gone that far. Maybe.
In the chaos, we might be able to just take back routes and avoid as many things as possible until we locate it.
It'd be really good if we had someone fast who could fly over and see where it might have gone.
Again, and I point out, being like, kind scale. Being in the open and flying is bad here.
A kind scale? He's talking about Chronic.
Yeah.
Heinrich, that's suicide.
I don't know what he's thinking.
I'm just gonna get my rope out and just try to... no, fuck. Is there a way that I could, go 50 feet and then just go the rest? Now, where... Can I trace to see if there's, like, a climbable path down?
Yeah, make a perception check.
I'm gonna do the same, but because I want to beat him.
Make a perception check with a little bit of spite.
I mean, the roll was a 7, and passive 11, for whatever it's worth.
I win.
Well, sure you do. I'm not supposed 16. To be rolling perception.
Okay. So, Heinrich, you kind of get over to the edge and you kneel down, the half cloak kind of coming over your shoulders. And as you peer down, the smoke is heavy. And as a tiefling, I mean, this is kind of like your environment. But as you consider, something about this one black eye and this one gold eye, it seems to be affecting you almost a little bit more, and it's hard to see. Morwen, you begin to look at this.
Teleport.
Huh?
I said I'm also impatient and would probably just prefer to teleport, but don't want to waste it.
Morwen, as you look down, you look at this not with the eye of, somebody raised in Port Quinn. You look at it from the eyes of a thief, somebody used to sneaking across places that are not necessarily meant to be traversed. And you certainly can see there are paths that you could certainly take. You look over at Shae, no problem. Shae, I mean, you think about Shae, she could probably just jump off. I mean, you've seen her do crazy stuff. You look at Heinrich. Heinrich with his, even as he bends, you can hear the kind of as some of the scales kind of fall together. It might be difficult, but you've seen and experienced him traveling great distances. You could probably do it. You look at Guntir with his flowing, like platinum blonde hair and beard. This sort
wearing
of
my stained pants.
Yeah, his Bruce stained pants and his fine. He's wearing no armor. A fall would almost certainly kill him. It would be difficult, if not impossible, for Guntir. But you do find that there is, for you, a path that you could make. There are areas that you can't necessarily make out, and so, there are like doors and divots and things, so there could be other things beyond. But you certainly see a path you could take.
All right. I relay all this information with looks specifically, where I'm just like looking down, and then I look at Shae and I'm like, then I look at Heinrich and like, then Guntir. I get up.
And Helia kind of turns over and looks at you. But yeah, so look, that's kind of what you see. You imagine there are certainly ways down, and there's more than one. I mean, there are it's a sprawling kind of, you're looking at like a Legends of the Hidden Temple stretched out to hundreds and hundreds of feet. So there are doors and stairways and paths and ladders and all different manners of things that you could use to get down. A part of it you would imagine is going to come down to the physicality of it, and a part of it is also going to come down to whether or not you are seen.
Well, it's sneaky and dangerous for some of us.
Wow. My middle name is Sneaky Danger.
What other?
It's a very odd middle name, Guntir.
Sneaky.
It's fluid. It changes from day to day, depending on the need.
What you were mentioning? There's other passages. So this room that we just came out of, this is the only door out of it, and it just ends at this ledge. What are the other?
There is a molding that is certainly climbable that is to the left and to the right. With the smoke and kind of the weirdly built nature of the ziggurat, you can't really make out too much. You would need to kind of explore one of those options to really know where they go. But thinking about it, make a straight intelligence check, because you can see above you is that path that you've been to before. So you might be able to kind of think about what's around you. 20? Okay. You would imagine turning and looking to the left. That would bring you more in line with, that's the direction that weird kind of kobold room with the mold, it's in that direction. You don't know that it would lead you directly there. You don't really remember. I would say you do remember that there is a doorway that you do not know the nature of in that area, and so perhaps it would lead there. And then with a 20 to your right, you haven't been. So it runs parallel to that area that you found dug in, and you begin to think about it, and you would imagine, should you go in that direction, it's going to lead you roughly in the direction of where that staircase is to go up to the gems. You don't know what's below it, and so there's no real way of knowing what's over there. But you do know that the left will lead you kind of back in the direction you came from.
Aside from just climbing and moving Guntir down there, we could always just try going this way to all safely climb down, and I would gesture to the one that I think would be possibly going down.
Okay.
Or if we don't care about people seeing us on the outside of this building, we could just go the straight path, and I wouldn't mind bringing them with me.
What is the straight path?
Well, you guys would climb, and I would meet you at the bottom with Guntir.
Oh, you want to separate?
Well, I would keep watch from up here until you guys are safely close to the ground, and then just, pop on down there.
Whatever's quickest and quietest, I think.
Well, to that point, I imagine anything that would get Guntir down immediately would be the quietest option.
That's kind of how I'm thinking too. If we wander around the outside of this building with kobolds climbing all over it, it's likely we'll run into them and have to fend them off with a deadly fall just to our side.
Helia turns and looks at you, Shae. What about you? How are you intending to get down? Are you going to climb or are you going to magic?
I don't practice magic as much.
She'll probably just jump down.
You can't just jump down. It's
you can't, but she probably can.
So I'm going to assume that there's some kind of a trick that I'm not privy to.
Nah, she's just that's their thing. That's what they do at Zinyi. They can do stuff like that.
If you call extensive and intensive training a trick, I suppose.
I mean, I've heard of the abilities of some of your kind, but if you could survive a fall like that, that's beyond anything I've ever heard of.
Yeah, well.
I mean, hey, are you gonna do it? Let's watch.
Shae, what are you doing?
Jump, 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 jump.
Guntir, are you loudly chanting that with all the kobolds up there? Right?
No.
So I'm assuming all of this is happening in kind of like stage whisper kind of.
Yeah.
Okay.
So
Sure.
Gonna like
Talon says jump.
move my way up to the edge
the weirdest
and can I make a perception check for handholds on the way down?
Yeah. So you want to try to jump down? You want to like parkour your way down?
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean,
Like an ibex.
What I saw to you.
I'm picturing Shae just dropping down like a little
Like the
ibex.
ball?
So
yeah, just like
yeah, you certainly can. This is what I'm going to say. Shae, you can do it. And looking down, you'd imagine this is going to take. You could probably do it in like 3 steps.
bing, bing.
Cool. Doing it.
Okay, I didn't hear anything that you just said, but it seemed like you were going to try to do it.
Doing it.
So okay,
Yeah.
so you watch as Shae kind of looks down, and as Guntir just kind of begins to quietly go jump, jump, jump. Shae, you just step off, and there's this, and you can see Helia goes no way, and just like you hear the voice trail away as you begin to drop. Go ahead and make an athletics or make an acrobatics check. Sorry.
And I'm just gonna get Helia to be like, no, come watch. Yeah.
And Helia rushes to the edge, and you can see she kind of slides on her knees to the side, like grabbing on and looking down.
26.
26. So as you plummet, you drop about 50 feet. And remind me, I believe you can go 70 feet without taking any damage.
Yep.
Okay, so you drop, kind of plummeting through the smoke, rising up, stinging your eyes. But all of a sudden, the police are there, Matt. Quite
Oh no!
Looking for
Oh
Shae.
Jesus!
That's all that I could hear. You plummet this smoke going straight past your face, seeing your eyes, and all of a sudden through that smoke and through the sirens, you can see there is like a metal pole that just out of the darkness. Your hands don't grab onto it. Your instinct is to, but your training prevents you from doing it. And you kind of hook your arm almost, taking the momentum and swing your legs almost like an attack, going over and then straight down and dropping off. Go ahead and make another acrobatics check. And hello to everybody from Campfire Quest.
25.
Welcome. 25. So now another 60 feet go by. The ground now, all of a sudden, the smoke displaces and you can see the ground looming up towards you. And you see there is an area which is almost like these awnings, these cloths that have been hung out to prevent probably like debris from falling from the top. And you kind of immediately land, your legs almost buckling underneath. And this is very Aladdin-esque. The front snaps and the thing kind of falls down. You slide down the bit of canvas and you hit the next one, snaps as well. And you slide down. Now kind of gaining your feet, you're almost surfing this canvas. You fall down the succession of 3 of them. and the last 50 feet, you just onto the ground. You land, your legs bending, kind of out. And what are you doing from the bottom?
I kind of like want to look up, but then like tuck myself into the nearest like alcove or hole or place out of sight.
Okay, so then from the rest of you watching from above, you can see through the smoke as it kind of clears here and there. There is this almost like just area that is completely clear of smoke from the momentum of Shae going through. And you see Shae just land, look up, and the smoke through. And as it clears, Shae is gone. Shae, make a stealth check.
Ah, so that's what that feels like.
Yeah.
That's a 23.
23. So you dash kind of into that area of ruined buildings. You're still maybe like 300 feet away from the bell tower of Yor that you guys had originally scouted this place from. But you're in that same kind of line of destroyed and ruined buildings.
Do I still see her with my 25 perception?
From this distance and with the smoke? No, not at all. It's a higher DC than that. However, you can see Helia still gripping onto the edge. Look up at you, Morwen. Wow, that exceeded my expectations.
Yeah.
If you wouldn't mind, remind me I owe Shae a bit of an apology. And she kind of climbs back up to her feet. So
I think you guys are up next, pointing to Morwen and Helia. I think you guys are up next. I'll wait till you're...
Oh, I can't follow that.
No, don't jump. Climb down.
You can see Helia literally as she's like standing up. She says,
No.
I was planning on doing something and showing off a bit of my acrobatic ability, but I'm just going to climb down. And you can see she kind of goes to the edge and begins to click hand over hand, climb down what are like the gaps in bricks she has to kind of find and feel her way through. But yeah, without too much problems, you can see she disappears out of sight below. Morwen, are you following?
Yeah.
I was hoping to just sort of take a vantage point just to see if anyone is noticing them.
Sure.
And while I have this angle, defend them if need be, and then when they're about halfway down, I'll ask Guntir for his permission to bring him down safely.
Okay. So Morwen.
I want to go sniff though.
Make a stealth check. Wow.
How's a 33? It's a natural 20.
It's okay, damn. There is a moment. Sorry, Helia rolled a 29. So there is a moment where, as soon as Morwen kind of disappears over the edge, Heinrich, you kneel down where Helia was kneeling down in the same spot, and you look down. There's nothing below you. They have already disappeared. There's a moment where Helia, like creeping through and finding her grip, looks over, and for her, even there's a moment where you're just gone. And in this kind of smoky space, the wind going by you, you can hear Morwen. And she continues to make her way down, but every now and then you can see she kind of like reaches out and then continues down. But she's like trying to figure out where you are. She has lost you, but she continues.
She doesn't need me.
Okay, sure. So you make the duration down. I mean, given what has transpired, you're noticing, I will say, as you go down, there are significantly fewer kobolds than you remember being here. There are still a few. You hear here and there the kind of ting, ting of somebody maybe working stone, and here and there little like voices kind of arguing over things, but way fewer than you remember. But you make your way down very, very quietly, and here and there, Morwen climbs down and just kind of finds a little bit of a area that seems to have been made for a flag to be risen. And before she slides down, you can see she kind of like kicks down as if seeing if somebody is there, and then slides and kind of stops every now and then to make sure, because she's not sure if you're below her or above her. So she's trying not to collide with you, but every now and then she's just looking for you. But she makes it down to the bottom. You can see she like looks all around for you now. And begins to kind of head off in the direction of this building line. What are you doing, Morwen?
I'll slide down the pole. to.
Okay.
Or whatever.
So
but I'm
quietly.
gonna make a show of it and be like, ah.
Okay. So stripper pole like apparently. You make your way down this pole. You land with your stealth check, nobody sees. And you kind
It's
of
just for
land at the end.
me.
It's just for you. And you can see just the back of Helia as she disappears into the smoke towards these ruined and wrecked buildings beyond.
Oh, I'm gonna catch up to her and be like, yo, girl.
And you can see she starts.
Wait for everyone.
Why don't I thought you were above?
Yeah. Above you.
You're all a lot more impressive than I imagined. I had things I wanted to talk to you about on the way down, but they can wait. And you guys kind of make your way into this line of broken buildings. Heinrich, at this point, you kind of wait, and you never see Morwen or Helia reach the bottom. You also don't notice any like noise or sound that would either lead to you believing that they have ruined their chances of going down, or that they have been alerted people to them.
Right. Okay. Let me think here. Guntir,
Wow.
are you ready?
I'm just finishing up my stretches. I'm good to go.
You don't need to bother. You're fine.
Your shoulders?
Yeah.
As Guntir goes like this, you can see Doug kind of slide down and like his little wombat claws kind of grab on. He almost falls off, but he's learning his way of kind of like being on Guntir.
I'm gonna.
Slouches. I'm assuming there's some back you can like.
Yeah,
shave
it can
on.
probably.
There is. He's a
like that.
25-pound wombat. He's small for a wombat, but that's still pretty big. You know, he's not a guinea pig. This is a decently sized creature, and Guntir is 5 feet tall and a dwarf and 287. So it's
5'2".
Sorry, but you slouch. Yes, I know.
So
thank you. We like our frames also.
Yeah.
Matt made them.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna I'm gonna fashion a sort of like baby pouch for Doug to.
You're making like a papoose?
Yeah, like a papoose out of one of my cloaks, my ratty old cloaks.
Sure. Make a tinkering check. You have Gamble's tools, so you do have advantage on this.
A nice little papoose.
Beautiful
papoose for my dog.
A proper papoose.
What's the proficiency modifier, or what's the ability modifier for tinkering?
Dex.
Is that Dex? Oh,
yeah.
Cool. So that's 17.
Okay, sure.
Still
without
pretty good.
Without any kind of problems. I mean, you've never made a papoose. You're not, in all of your 287 years, you haven't. Not that you are not necessarily a father, but you haven't done a lot of fathering. And so, you've never really swaddled a creature, but you do your best. As you kind of come away from this, you can see this wombat kind of gently nuzzled. You imagine he's very secure. He's at an awkward angle, and he doesn't look
back too,
super
so
comfy.
It's not impeding my crawling.
Sure, but you kind of shrug him on. As you do, you can hear the kind of as he kind of like settles in, and you can feel him kind of wiggling around. He's not settled yet, but he's secure.
I give him one of his treats to calm him down a bit.
The grunting immediately stops, and you feel the treat with these little wombat hands kind of be grasped away from you.
Okay.
Little bits of wood every now and then from these little roots kind of like hit you in the back of the neck. But yeah,
all
seems
right.
pretty happy.
Off we go then, and I'm gonna go over and get ready to start climbing my way down.
Okay, so you watch as Guntir.
And I walk over to Guntir. I'm like, "Are you ready? Are you ready to come with me?"
Yeah, I'm ready. I'm going,
cool.
And I'm gonna inch my way over the edge and
step down with Guntir in tow.
Putting my leg.
So Guntir, as you reach your leg over, all of a sudden there is this like weird, and I don't think you've actually done Dimension Door with Heinrich before. So as you are going down, you feel this hand on your shoulder, and all of a sudden you're aware of these teal lights kind of emerging around you. And as your foot reaches over the edge, you feel this, and your leg touches the ground, and you are now on the ground level.
What the?
Let's check up with our friends. And do we see
Helia? No. You
Okay.
can see like you saw roughly where like Shae had looked before she disappeared, but that's the best clue you got.
Okay. That's where I'll head off to the building line just to get away from the tower as quickly as possible.
Okay. So, Shae, you were the
I'll
first to get
butcher a
down.
path and then start like kind of hustling.
Okay.
I'm like following, but I'm just still looking up and like, what?
Every time you turn, Doug is kind of like swished around, and there's a point where he almost loses his root, and his little hands have to grasp at it. But he manages to stick with you. Shae, you were the first down, and so you like rush over to the building area, and you find the first alcove, which is the sort of broken bits of what at some point looks like it was probably like a bakery or something. And as you kind of stand, what was maybe like a display case, there's broken glass on the ground, broken rubble. The whole front wall has been kind of smashed in. You can see through the smoke Helia's quiet figure emerge. What was your stealth check?
23.
It doesn't see you. You can see she kind of looks around. And because I don't think you caught up to her, right? Yeah, you caught up to her. You can see Morwen kind of suddenly from the sort of smog just appear as well. Morwen, with your passive perception, you don't see Shae either.
But we see Guntir and Heinrich, right?
They're following you, and not at a terrible distance. I mean, they waited for you to get down. I would say at this point, yeah, all of a sudden you kind of hear the kind of like of Doug like chewing on a little bit of a root, and in this very quiet space, you hear the of Heinrich walking, and yeah, without too much trouble, you locate the two of them.
I'm gonna just nudge Helia and be like, "First one they find is a rotten egg," and I go hide.
Okay. You can see Helia turns, and there's a moment where she almost moves, but then you can see she just smiles and kind of shakes her head and turns around. Well, you two made it down here a bit quicker than I thought you would.
No big deal.
I'm
Easy
searching and I'm
peasy.
like, "Haha, you lost."
I can bring people great distances quickly.
And you can see she kind of looks at you more, but then turns back to Heinrich. That's a useful skill to have. We may be able to make use of that to leave once we get what we need from the Golden Terrace.
That's exactly.
At
least one of us.
I was curious. Once we get the items that I'm looking for, is it your intent to fight this dragon? Because I'll be honest with you, that's not really on my agenda.
Unfortunately, at this moment, it seems like that is on ours.
Well, regardless of what we're going...
Hold on, that kind of thing that you could bring back down not only these relics and items of great worth, but also the news of liberating the city, and somehow use it to garner favor and bring your family back up to the top.
You can see on her face, at first, there is like skepticism. There's this kind of almost bored look. But as you begin to talk through this, make a persuasion check.
Oh. It's really convincing there.
Good.
It's an 8.
An 8. Okay.
Yeah.
Can I try to help him?
How are you trying to help?
Yeah, what he said.
Go ahead and you can roll at advantage if you would like. You're currying favor. I mean, she likes Morwen.
Right. And also, like, we just displayed our skills, kind of.
Yeah. I mean, they're
all right. A little better. 15.
15. It's an interesting idea, but for us ever to regain the place that we lost, something drastic would need to occur with the gold close. That being said, now, if we were to bring news of our liberation, despite the unfortunate loss of the entirety of Clan Goldglow, perhaps that would work.
League with, if they're in league with Kindscale,
Yeah,
or so it seems like everyone up there is benefiting from her presence. That's an easy way to turn everyone against them, too.
A fair point. There may be something to your idea. I'll keep it in mind.
Heinrich, can I ask you something about the...
Shae, have you made your presence known at all yet? You're hearing all this is happening maybe like 30 feet away from you. Okay.
The what was it, Guntir?
The book with the instructions.
Yeah.
All right, come with me. I gotta take a look at this.
Okay. I'm taken aside with Guntir.
Okay.
I'm gonna make sure Helly is not listening.
Okay, you look over and Helia is kind of standing with Morwen. Make a perception check.
Make sure she's not trying to listen to us. That's a 24.
24. You look over and Helia is not listening, and for a moment in the gloom, you almost think you can see a figure, but then as it kind of like the smog passes a little bit more, you can see it's like what looks like maybe like almost like a mannequin or something. It wasn't a person. Shae, you are still completely hidden as far as you can tell. There's a moment where you see one of Gunter's eyes kind of pass over, but then it just kind of lazily wanders off into the side. Doesn't quite focus on you.
I'm gonna go up next to Heinrich and have him put the book out in front of us. Make it look like we're talking about it and be like, I don't know if we should keep going along with Helia.
What? Why not?
Well, think about it. She wants us to get all these artifacts for her, and then she's gonna split. We could use those if we're gonna actually try to take out this dragon. Why would we go all this way and give her what she wants so she can leave without even doing anything? If anyone should take him, we can...
This may surprise you, but why do you think I was trying to convince her to stay?
Well, look, you might not get it because you're still a bit naive, but with people like Helia, it's, appealing to their better sense of nature, their good humors. She's in it for herself. She's already shown that. So,
right. And there's nothing stopping us from claiming these things that she wants so much for ourselves, and then offering them as a reward to helping us. If we have them and the dragon becomes an imminent threat in that moment, she would be forced to help fight. She couldn't just... she could also just run away, I suppose. But that would be leaving us with these things that we would have collected. Yeah, I don't see it as too big of an issue with her getting away with these things if we are the ones to get them first, because then she'll stick around, or we'll just have them.
You say that, but all right, I'm just...
Shae, you're hearing all this, by the way. This is happening about 20 feet away from you. Like they walked 10 feet away from Helia and Morwen, and they just kind of got closer to you. So you're hearing this. For what it's worth.
I'm just gonna be yapping at Helia about random shit.
I guess you guys could be talking about your Dungan and stuff.
So the first time I saw Chronic, I was like, ow.
And because
I think that if we ever have kids, we may ask Shae to be your godmother.
It's an interesting choice, but they'd certainly be safe. I must say, the display back there, that was like nothing I've ever seen. Magic user or not.
Maybe our baby will have wings, though.
Now, forgive my ignorance. I admit I don't know much about this, but and she sort of talks to you about the intimate nature of Tabaxi and Aarakocra and whether or not, the block will fit in the but you guys have that conversation. Shae, are you doing anything during all this?
I'm just listening.
Okay.
To all of it.
I'm not... We betrayed Helia. I'm just saying, if we're going through all this trouble, we should at least utilize the tools that we're getting before we hand them over to her. I don't think we need to consult her on it.
I don't think you're hearing me. I am on your side of this, and nothing about what I said to her was other than just trying to embolden her to our cause. That's it. I'm not promising her that we'll give her the things right away, especially if there's a strong weapon that we could use. That's invaluable.
It wasn't a very convincing argument on your part. I'm just gonna say, You tried your best. I appreciate it. But, you know,
I've done better. I know this. I've done better, but it's also
sucks.
weird for all of us.
I'm just saying, she's the type of person who's going to see that and she's going to think that she can probably just, do whatever she wants without thinking about what you want. So just putting it out there. Be aware of that. And
that's why you are here, Guntir.
Yeah, I'm always looking out for you. Don't you forget it.
And I appreciate that.
So, in any case, I think one way or another, we're going to have to deal with this sooner rather than later. So, I'm going to look away and try to find out, where this path is leading the ore golem so we can continue on.
So, Guntir, since you were doing that, and we're also the person that kind of first saw the ore golem, why don't you go ahead and, for me, roll a D100?
Oh, jeez.
And then make a perception check.
Okay. That is oh my god. That's 0 and 0.
Okay. Okay.
It's either really good or really bad.
Yeah.
And what was your perception check?
Oh, a perception as well?
Mm-hmm.
That is a 21.
Okay. So, looking at this trail, it's very clear. You can see these big footprints, each one maybe 3 feet long. This just pulverized stone. You can even see areas where metal, little bits of metal used to reinforce parts of the stone, have been smashed flat. The metal itself folded into itself like a crushed coin.
Street signs, just
Yeah, I mean this thing is pretty heavy. Easy to track. First of all, the thing that you notice is that within this trail, there's elements of blood, and you're realizing that at least one of the kobolds was crushed in the descent.
Makes sense.
So there's probably at most 4 of those original kobolds with it. Based on the pattern of the steps and everything, the one controlling it wasn't crushed because there is no area where you can see that the figure fell dormant or anything. So you follow this kind of clear path with your eyes. With a 21, again, there's a moment where you almost swear you could see something, but the tracks kind of gather your attention again, and you can see that they head off in the direction of the bell tower of Yore and then beyond. You can see actually an area on the bell tower because you are familiar with it, kind of on the side facing you, about where that creature's elbow would be. There's a big smash in the stone, as if it had progressed past in that way. With your perception check, you're also recognizing within this path there are many other little footsteps with it, and you're beginning to realize probably the reason that you guys were not seen, maybe, well, for you guys, I mean, you took a real direct path. It seems as if many of these kobolds are following this golem.
Yeah.
So you remember, it was really exciting for the kobolds when they activated it.
It's probably like a parade now.
Certainly a couple following it. Given the path that you have kind of scouted out, it's headed in the direction of the edge of the Market Aglo and perhaps over.
I'm gonna relay all this information to Heinrich and be like, we should get a move on, get the rest of the gang.
Are we going to be heading all the way back down now? That would be very frustrating. Oh well. Okay, fine.
But I'm not the one in charge.
Yeah. All right. And I just turn over towards Morwen and Helia, and I'm like, and Shae,
right before
wherever
he
you may be.
addresses us, I'm gonna be like, so Helia, what were you saying? The Brotherhood? Oh, Heinrich, time to go.
Looks like Guntir's located the path.
I think it's pretty clear. And I point to destroyed building and blood and the little feet steps of kobolds amassing in the direction that it's going.
Yeah. So you kind of follow the path, and as a group, you guys begin to progress. Shae, what are you doing?
Wait, is Shae with us yet?
We don't
You guys
I guess
don't know
maybe
this,
the
but Shae's
darkness.
about 30 feet away from you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not gonna leave without Shae.
Okay.
Catch up.
Jay?
Going to wait until they start making their way off. The area toward the ziggurat that we'd gone through before is relatively clear, you said?
Seems to be, yeah.
I want to, like, dart over and doctor some of the markings I'd left for product.
Sure.
Point him in the new direction.
Yeah.
And then catch up.
Without too much trouble, especially given your speed, you dart out. There's like this brief kind of contrail of smoke as you part through, and your momentum forces it aside. But you get there quickly. You take some of the symbols and you just alter them. You add other symbols in. You move elements of the things that you've placed, and you kind of almost kind of boomerang the sign back to point in that turnaround sign. You don't see anything has been altered, so you would imagine Krodok has not returned yet. So you guys progress on in the way, kind of trusting that Shae will follow. Shae, are you trying to catch up to them?
Yes, but I don't want to make it obvious.
Okay. You guys travel like about, given your speed, you guys travel maybe like 600 feet. You're picking your way through the bits of rubble. I would say, Guntir, you leading the way, following this trail, actually like start picking out parts that you're familiar with. You see like elements of that like ruined tavern off to the left, and then as you pick through, you actually pass the bell tower of Yor. You can now see this very clear divot smashed through. And from the bell tower of Yor, you can kind of see other elements of the market now. And you can see like very clearly there's like a building that was originally mostly intact. You remember, seemed to be a domicile of some sort. There is a path straight through it. The rock like ruined through, and through that path you can see like it is a very clear path through buildings, through walls, through rubble, and it leads up to an area that you guys parkour. There's no parkour. It is tanking its way through.
Technically it's parkour because it's the quickest point from A to B.
I don't know the legal definition of parkour, but sure, it is certainly the quickest path. But it seems to lead up to a large structure that Smashjaw had pointed out earlier. This is the Hall of the Gibbon Society. And you remember, Smashjaw had said they had not been able to breach it. There is now a large hole in the wall.
They were able to breach it.
You can see a few of the little sigils that had been lit on the side now dead. Yeah, they were able to breach it. And I would say from this distance, you're still maybe 600 feet away. And Shae, this is like right around when you're catching up to them. You wait for a second, and then from within that hole, you see kind of like a flash of what looks like maybe electrical discharge. You'd imagine still within.
I think it's in the Gibbet Society.
It's kind of ironic.
What?
Well, didn't you call them gibbets, and they're now in the Gibbet Society? So it's almost
No. I don't think the kobolds with this thing weren't gibbets.
Okay, never mind then.
Where are we drawing the line between a kobold and a gibbet? Because they seem very familiar or similar.
I think it's about the coloration on their scales.
But they've all been kind of black and gray.
It's a very subtle distinction.
Make a deception check, Hunter.
This is the most useful. Oh my god.
25.
It just doesn't seem to make sense to me, but maybe it's something I'll learn as we go.
Well, if you study animals as much as I do.
Well, if we're going to the Gibbon Society Hall, maybe I'll learn a bit more there.
Maybe. I'm going to continue along. Maybe.
Okay. You begin to kind of pick your way through, and as you make your way in, you can see more clearly this wrecked area. You can see it punctures into what would have been a hallway and actually partially into a room as well. You can see into two rooms at once because of the nature of this destruction. on the right, sort of like the room that is more sealed off and shouldn't be exposed to the outside, you see ruined and kind of knocked over a variety of chairs, probably once lined up, maybe like an auction hall of some kind. The hallway itself extends down 30 feet. You can see another doorway, metal, unopened, and then another hallway that goes around a corner, fairly distant. It's 50 feet, so it's the other end of this building. And from there, as you kind of look, you can again see this kind of light, and you hear like off in the distance, like little laughter from kobolds.
And I like point in that direction. We're getting closer. See that? Point to the flash.
You guys look, and there isn't a second flash, but you saw the first one.
Well, keep moving. We're moving.
Okay. I want everybody to make a stealth check.
Yes, please.
Yeah, classic.
So like
it's
3?
a bad classic. Actually, it's a 4.
Okay. Anybody else?
A 28.
28 for Morwen.
17.
17 for you and for Helia.
And my shitty disadvantaged.
Probably still better than Guntir.
12.
12? Okay. As you guys make your way towards the, I'm saying Gibbet Hall now, towards the Gibbon Society Guild Hall, you creep your way through. Morwen, you like silently, a shadow slipping through rubble. Helia and you, Shae, also very, very quiet, but here and there have to like pause to kind of move things to step quietly. Shae, for you, it's more kind of you have to wait for Helia to move. But Heinrich, you are having a little bit of trouble here and there, and you begin to kind of watch Helia, who is like kind of watching Shae, and you use that path to make as little noise as possible. There is still kind of like the chink, 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 which is not much you can do about it. Guntir, you
Doug and I are just making tons of noise.
Yeah, you pick your way through fairly quietly. You follow Heinrich as best you can, but here and there now, kind of done with this treat, you can hear the kind of Doug kind of beginning to kind of try to wiggle free from his papoose.
Shh, Doug, quiet.
And you're making like a lot more noise than Doug is, but you can hear Doug now kind of in protest.
Shh, Doug, I'll give you another treat if you shut up.
Make an animal handling check, just a flat animal handling check.
Boy.
Ooh, nice. That's an 18.
Okay, so all of you guys hear this, but then all of a sudden, in place of the argument, you kind of hear the soft crunching as Doug the wombat goes back to work on this little root treat that he has. Gunter, you're about halfway through these treats. They're running out pretty quick, just so you know.
Yeah.
But you guys, without too much trouble, and mostly in part to Morwen's stealth check, as a group, make your way to the edge of where, like, you're now just across the street. There are kind of cobblestones here, and across this cobblestone path there is the outline, about 30 feet tall, within this almost 80-foot tall structure, massive, built almost like a monument. At this point now you can hear kobold voices. You kind of hear something smash, and then glass as if it's scattering across a marble floor. What do you guys do?
I want to turn to Gunter and just be like, all right, so again, according to the manual, there's one leader probably, or someone controlling it. Well, do you remember if any of them looked like
in
control?
I'm gonna look for the one that was the one who was clearly the leader,
Okay.
and he wasn't the one who found the piece, but the one that they gave the piece to activate it.
Sure. You don't see any kobolds or gibbets at this point. You would need to actually enter the structure, you would imagine, and you can hear them from all the way at the other end and down around a corner. So you need to really progress in to find them. But that's who you're looking for.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm gonna say I'm gonna tell them. I'm gonna give a brief description of the one that I saw that I think is the. I'm
not saying that Gunter is necessarily like speciesist or anything. These kobolds didn't wear a lot of the only kobold that's really stood out so far, aside from the one that plummeted off when Heinrich destroyed the thing and then just died before I could use him. You remember like the weird sort of crusty one that was spreading spores everywhere, but there hasn't been. The other ones all are relatively similar.
Didn't the other one wasn't the one that was leading the expedition party that found the ore golem wearing like different armor set or something, or like actual scraps of leather armor or something?
They all have like little scraps of leather armor.
Okay, I thought that one had something more distinguishing, but I'm relaying as much as I can about the one that was given the piece to activate it.
Okay. So you relay that a kobold has this piece and he was the leader. He looks at the leader. And you can see Helia kind of nods. Well, something else to keep in mind about this society, right? If this was able to stave off the invasion so far, there are probably powerful traps and such inside. We want to step carefully.
Oh, yeah.
Right.
Well, careful's my middle name.
You have a lot of middle names, Guntir.
I told you that.
You said they were fluid, I guess. So, and she kind of considers. But as you guys kind of make your way one by one into the Gibbon Society Guild Hall, it is 10:15 or 10:16, so that's where we're going to take our break. Let's say we'll be back in like 10 minutes at 10:26. We will run some music. You'll get to see some beautiful art by Frederica Volova and or by Erica Volova and by Sophie Bischoff, the two artists who have done some tremendous stuff for us.
And probably some ad for like a shitty computer game or something, right?
Yeah, you'll probably see like a Twitch ad also.
Yeah.
But we will see you at 10:26. It is currently 10:16. We'll see you in 10 minutes. Howdy, folks, and welcome back from our break. Thank you to those of you who stuck with us or who are now coming back. It's been a interesting episode so far. When we left off, or kind of as a full recap here, so far the group has kind of cleaned out the room that I had dubbed the orphanage, which now is kind of like, hauntingly poetic. You guys found the nature of the room being some kind of a workshop where magic was being infused into metal, and the metal was being researched and cataloged. You guys found a sort of manual to this ore-fed golem, or it's an ore-driven golem. You gave last rites, Guntir, to Doug's former owner, a dwarf with a face kind of crushed in. You guys made your way out to the edge of the ziggurat, and looking down, figured various ways to make your way down to the bottom and into the Market Aglo and the ruins around it. You guys found that the golem had smashed its way through, perhaps leading a couple more kobolds into the Gibbon Society Guild Hall. And now, as you make your way in, Guntir, you are leading this group. So go ahead and as you enter, make a perception check.
Okay. That's 28.
Okay, so 28. You get in, you look to your right, you can see there is a door that is closed. Elements of the stone wall have been smashed away, and you would imagine kobolds could have entered this room. You can see beyond chairs in disarray. You can see a lectern that's still up all the way at the front. This room is maybe 40 feet long. You can see 3 cases that are glass are all shattered. Whatever was in them now gone. You see one more case and what looks like maybe like a series of candles within it. That one is untouched. Past that, and kind of now taking your head away and looking to your left, you can see there is iron doors that have been unopened, and then beyond that, a hallway through which now again you see that kind of glow from, and you hear electricity discharge now, and beyond you hear glass, and the glass like as if it was exploded, spraying across stone, almost like a musical kind of sound. And then you could hear one kobold like scream out in pain, and the rest of them kind of laugh.
Okay.
Oh.
I guess I'm gonna carefully get kind of closer to where the sound is coming from while still staying hidden. And kind of motion for everyone to follow.
Okay.
I'm gonna keep on. Oh, sorry. Yeah.
No, go ahead.
Yeah, easily. And I think also, since I was there with you too when we saw the leader, I'm gonna be looking out for. Well, you described it to everyone, but yeah, I'm gonna.
Yeah, but like
my focus is to locate.
Like a kobold.
Yeah, all of you guys are trying to focus this leader, right? You're trying to find him.
Yeah.
Right.
Okay. So, Guntir, you begin to creep forward. Make a stealth check.
9.
Okay. Begin to creep forward. As luck would have it for you, I mean, you make it to the corner, and so far you don't feel as if you've been seen. And as you kind of peer around, you can see it's because the kobolds are quite distracted. At the moment, you can see almost identical to the room on the other side, although not full of chairs. It seems to be almost empty. It seems to be like a function room or a ballroom that is not currently in use. However, you do see at the far wall, first of all, you can see this golem in the middle, currently just standing. It's back to you. You can see through the back, through the rippling energy that surrounds and binds these pieces of iron into a singular form. There is one of those stone discs kind of wedged in. And in there you can see a sphere of what looks like maybe copper ore. That is currently the ability that is being utilized. Okay. You can see all around there seems to be about 8 kobolds that are kind of going through. On the far wall, there is what looks like built into the wall itself, like a shelving. Okay. And you can see there's mostly empty. There were books or papers, maybe. They're kind of scattered and ripped, so it's hard to tell their original form. Those have been kind of rifled through and strewn across the ground. You can see, even in the small amount of smoke that's kind of whiffing through what must be vents because you see no windows. You can see like bits of the paper kind of blowing across the room. All the way at the other end, there is something that they are fighting over. This seems to be some kind of a weapon, perhaps. It's obscured at first by the two bodies, and you can hear this kind of as they struggle back and forth with it. And as they turn, almost kind of like a dance where they're each holding an end, you see, as black as midnight, an axe. It seems to be made out of, you've seen actually fairly recently, obsidian. But this is like an obsidian axe. It has like a flat, almost razor-shaped face, so it's like a flat edge, and like on the actual base of the blade part, there seems to be this kind of strange ruin. And they kind of spin again, like struggling with this thing, and you lose sight of it. But it definitely seems to emanate like a magical feel. They continue to argue, and you would imagine they have not seen you yet. So what do you want to do? You kind of duck back around the corner.
Like, the golems in there, they're like 8 kobolds. 2 of them are fighting over some axe. The golem has a copper disc in it, and from the notes it said what? Electricity, which pretty obvious. I got zapped.
What was your perception check, Guntir?
28.
28. One of the kobolds does look a little different. Not different in that you haven't seen him before, but different from the others. And it moves with a weird kind of lurch. And as you kind of look at it, it's not going through and destroying things. It seems to be kind of almost like purposefully rubbing along the wall. And as it does, it leaves like bits of its scales almost kind of like rubbed up, like almost like a purpley paste or mold. And you realize it's one of those kobolds, not the one that was kind of like chanting and doing things. It's one of those kind of weird kobolds that the other ones seem to be kind of afraid of. And very much, this one is on its own. It's kind of just now like seems to be leaning into the wall and just like staggering around the room.
I'm gonna be like, one of those, there's like 1 gibbet and 7 kobolds. And I think if we take out the disc, that'll at least weaken the ore golem. But maybe we take out the gibbet because that could be the leader. And then, backup plan B, someone be going after the disc. So if it's not the right gibbet, then we can take out the rest with a little less difficulty from being electrocuted.
Sounds like a good enough plan to me.
So, not to volunteer anyone, but I think we should try to be a little stealthy about this as much as we can, and a little quick.
And I look at Shae and Morwen.
Not to volunteer anybody. What are you guys doing?
So you want me to go kill the leader?
Well, I don't want anyone to do what they don't feel like doing, but you seem like you'd be good at either stealing the copper disc or killing the guy before we get noticed. Maybe Shae can kill because she seems to like doing that, and you can steal because that thing's pretty shiny.
I feel like I would rib Guntir at this moment and be like, now is not the time to stoop to that level.
I'm just saying, it's a logical reason.
You clean up your own messes, and Shae's gonna turn and walk out.
Okay.
Oh, so now this is my mess? Because I wasn't the one who tried to help you?
Helia grabs you a little bit by the shoulders and kind of tugs you in, Guntir, and she says, first of all, be very quiet. This is not the place to be having a loud argument. The second thing is, you need to be nice to Shae, because after what I just witnessed, she probably is our best chance at killing.
That's why I said it.
Or whatever.
It's not my fault that she got hurt feelings because I told it like it was.
What is the deal with the two of you?
I don't know. I'm trying my best to work through this, and she refuses my help.
Make a deception check, Guntir.
That's an outright lie.
That's 12.
Look, it's clear to me, Guntir, and don't take this the wrong way, because I actually really like you. But you probably owe Shae an apology. I'm not sure for what.
She beats me up and steals my stuff, and I owe her an apology.
Seeing as how
Sorry.
now Morwen is kind of tapping you.
Wow.
Music Panache
What are you saying?
on Guntir.
Yeah, what are you saying?
Sorry.
Okay.
You need to get this done. Be the bigger man.
Guntir, make a oh man, I gotta remember how panache works.
I think
It's opposing roles. I do know that.
Yes, I can tell you in just a minute.
My guess is like persuasion versus insight or something like that.
So So what you're doing is you're making a persuasion check contested by Guntir. You make an insight check.
Right.
Okay. Ooh, this is gonna be some high rolls, hopefully. No.
I'm doing a persuasion check.
You are.
All right, so that is a dirty 20.
Okay.
Yeah, that's gonna beat my 14.
Okay. So Guntir, currently the way that this works, this is weird because people never use these on each other because this is, why would you?
Normally people like to work together. But...
Guntir, you are charmed for 1 minute. You regard Morwen as a friendly acquaintance, which, I mean, I would kind of argue is a downgrade. But what I'm going to say is, based on the effects and everything, I'm not going to read too much into the rules as written here. I'm going to do the rules as intended. You suddenly kind of, as Morwen says this,
I'm not necessarily, refusing anyway. So.
Yeah. There is a part of you that kind of gets a sense that they're probably right.
You know how to get me.
Softy. Now go
But it's only because I'm not excusing what she's done to me. It's only because I recognize the need to be a bigger person.
Yeah,
So, just so we're clear.
Okay.
It's very noble of you, Guntir.
I know.
But maybe you just keep it down a little bit, please.
Yeah, less loud, but very clear.
All right.
All right, we'll wait here then.
Go over.
I'm gonna be like a little behind him, like.
I'm going.
And you see Helia over Morwen's shoulder, also kind of giving you thumbs up.
The room of kobolds.
Yeah, you're keeping an actual eye on things that are actually happening.
Yeah, the important things that matter that we should just not. Okay.
Okay. Shae, come here. We gotta talk. You're gonna make me walk to you? Come on. So faster. I can't even catch up.
So,
Like,
Shae, are you stopping for Guntir? What's going on?
I will slow down to a pace that he could catch up with if he hustles.
Okay. So at this point, you guys are kind of like out into the ruins of the Market Aglo. All around you, smoke and rubble and ruined buildings.
I'm dashing.
Okay. So you hurry and you catch up to Shae.
As he catches up, I want to like pull him off to the side, like out of the main street, and like.
Okay. You guys dip into the shelled out remains of a domicile of some sort.
Can't make it easy for me, can you? Look, Shae, we gotta talk. Now I know you don't like me, and I know we don't see eye to eye all the time, but you gotta know, I'm looking out for you whether you want it or not, and whether you recognize it or not. But I do recognize that I have been unfairly antagonistic towards you because of our past grievances. And so I am putting myself out there and apologizing to you so that we can continue working together so that we don't get killed by the dragon that I just learned about. So can you please help us do the thing that you're good at doing and kill this kobold so we can move on? And look, I'm not forgetting that you regularly beat me and steal from me. I'm not going to let that slide. But I also recognize that we are both at fault in this situation, and so I am taking the initiative to apologize. Now, I leave it up to you to decide which path you will follow. But I am sorry.
Was that as heartfelt an apology as I could expect from you?
Yeah, I don't really know what else to say about that. I shoot
I have
straight.
a condition.
What's that?
There is to be no more comments on the lives I take for your antics. Either you clean up your own messes, or you will take the assistance that I offer.
Fair enough. But I will also remind you that we would not be in this situation if you had assisted me in figuring out what this was in the first place. But no matter. I take full responsibility for the lives that I take, and I hope that you will do the same.
And as Guntir talks, Shae, there is a moment, and you feel frustration kind of rising, but there's a moment where you think back almost reflexively to your training. Before you were a full-fledged member of the Zindian, you could remember a slightly younger but still senior to you Aira saying, to be focused and clear of thought. What matters most will be found, and to ignore it is a sin. Focus your efforts on what matters most. And that last part kind of runs into your mind and into the present moment.
That is all I ask. That there are no more jimes about the lives being taken.
I'm not trying to jibe. I take it very seriously. But I do recognize that my bluntness towards you could have been offensive to some. And again, I am sorry. But we are both responsible for this. And my agency should not be taken lightly in the matter either. If you're making me responsible for those deaths, you should also recognize the things that I've done to help.
I feel that that is mutual.
Well, it's a lot easier when it feels mutual, so let's leave it at that.
This I can accept.
Good. You know, I do respect you, despite what it seems.
Perhaps a word to that effect every once in a while might go a long way.
Let's get back to the group. Get this over with.
After you.
I'm just gonna whisper to Helly.
As Guntir turns and walks away, you can see now Doug just kind of like almost half asleep in his little papoose. Kind of his head just as Guntir wheels around and kind of heads off. But Morwen, you speaking to Helia?
Yeah. I'm just gonna say, you know, I hope they get along because might ask Guntir to be the Chronic and I's or godfather. If he lives.
As we discussed before, I mean, there are going to be so many eggs, and she kind of goes off and kind of trying to figure out the specifics of what this might entail.
You can have one too.
Are you mean like as a godparent, or I'm not really looking for responsibilities.
You can pick your favorite one.
Okay.
I've made it to 97 without any children, and I'm trying to keep it that way.
Okay. Shae's back in.
And Guntir just kind of appears.
Surprise, don't tell him.
Oh, okay.
All right, so we're all set with the plan, right? Do we have a plan?
What is the plan?
The plan is that
I've been observing the room and patterns of movement and sort of taking numbers and looking for any more details.
Heinrich, make a perception check. Make it at advantage as you have for this entire duration been actually focused on a goal.
Okay, good.
That's not fair. Actually focused on
fair at all.
here in present danger.
Yeah, the present danger thing. 14.
Okay. A couple things. You notice the kobolds that are kind of on the far end, they seem to be kind of coming to an end in looting and destroying the things that they are looting and destroying. You would see the two kobolds that are kind of fighting over this axe sort of thing. Their approach, but that kobold that's kind of leaning into the wall and leaving a trail of itself in this weird, almost purpley fungus on the wall. You can see as it approaches those two kobolds, they stop and they look at it, and you can see one of them, their tails kind of almost tucks between the legs, and you can see it lets go. The other one almost like falls, holding on to this. It's a fairly, for a kobold, a large weapon. And you can see it kind of looks up very nervously at this creature, and it like almost offers it out towards the creature that just kind of walks right by it. But you do notice that. You also notice that in this sort of space, this golem hasn't really reacted too much. And on it, you can see that there is this sort of, now looking around and not taking part in the looting, not taking part in the fighting, there is one kobold that probably is the leader. It's kind of casting a glance around. Seems to be keeping an eye out, less on like the direction that it came from, and more trying to keep the kobolds in check. But so far, they haven't seemed to notice you. They do have a passive of 8.
Cool. I'm going to note that one down so that when inevitably things begin to happen, that's the first one I will target when I say that kobold, the leader kobold.
There you go.
I will also, to whoever's around, kind of nudge and point and be like, that's the one controlling the golem. Most likely. I guess Helia and Morwen. And then Shae and Guntir when they come back.
Okay, and they kind of take note. You can see Helia nods. So, is it Shae or Morwen who's killing the leader?
I think one should go for the leader, while the other one goes for the disc.
I'll let Shae decide which one she wants.
And I'll provide support to anyone who needs it.
In the vantage that we have, does the disc look like it's protected in any way?
Kind of lean out and take a look. The disc seems as if it's kind of slotted into the back. If you were able to get onto the back, it's 15 feet up in the air. But if you were able to get onto the back, it doesn't look like it's like caged or locked. You would imagine you could probably pull it out.
I'll go for the disc.
All right.
So to be clear, when you take out the disc, the ore golem will no longer be able to zap us, but it will still be active.
Wonderful.
So be careful.
Okay.
So
Okay.
where exactly is the leader?
So to paint like a little bit of a picture, because I don't have an encounter
Yeah.
map for the first time in this entire
That's fine.
campaign,
That's totally fine.
I think it's great because you guys went to the 1% possible chance. So that's pretty
The
fantastic.
finger gang has finally stumped you.
Yeah, I mean, I have it good. I just have it
Stumped,
drawn out. So
just not prepared.
yeah, this room is about 55 feet long.
Okay.
This golem is maybe no more than 40 feet away from you. The majority of the kobolds are on the other side of the golem. The exception at this point is the leader and that kind of moldy looking one that's now kind of almost finished making a complete loop of the room.
The leader is how. Is there different floors? Is it just like in front of me?
No, it's just a flat room. It looks like it's probably like a ballroom at some point. There's no different floors that you can see. You actually, I would say you can intuit from the size of the building, there is a second floor. There doesn't seem to be any way to reach it from here.
And it's open otherwise, so I can't. There's not much Like, is there any pillars or anything like that?
So looking through, there isn't any pillars. This is it seems to be designed to be purposefully an easy room to make visible in the front. You saw it as you went past. Yeah, I mean, it's hard to kind of determine the nature of the room, but it's almost like it was designed to create very clear sight lines to the front.
All right. Well, at least the one that I'm going after is near me. So,
Yep.
Shae, on the count of 3. 1.
Wait.
2.
What should we do?
Figure it out.
You
Okay, this is what we're gonna do. I need everybody to roll initiative. Morwen and Shae, you guys are gonna get surprise rounds on this. This is,
Oh yeah. I guess we're already snuck,
That's not
right?
the right die.
you guys are considered stealth, yeah, as far as you know. Let's see here.
Woohoo! Guntir.
Okay, so anybody with a natural 20?
Me.
All right, Shae going first of the first.
right.
All right.
That's a good
25 to 20? 20 to 15?
18.
19.
Oh.
Wow.
Okay.
All right. Guntir
Okay.
number 2, 287 going second. And then we have Morwen who's going after that. And then Heinrich,
I'm just behind with that with the 15.
the 15.
14. Sorry,
14. Still not bad, guys. Look at this. Finger gang coming out on top. All right.
Like
And then-
plan.
yeah, they got a natural 5 and a natural 4. So
Nice.
not a bad way to start. So the way that we're going to do this, we're going to do Shae and then Morwen. You guys are going to get a surprise round at the top. Then we're going to drop into initiative order. It's going to go Guntir, Heinrich, and then they're going to go. And then we're starting Shae, Guntir, Morwen, etc. So Shae, you are up first. Morwen, you are up second. This is a surprise round.
The distance between my starting point and the golem is 40 feet.
Yeah.
15 feet up to the disc.
Yep.
Cool. I'm gonna go over and try to get as close to that. And if possible, yank it out.
Okay, with your movement, no problem. You can run, and because you're able to move up walls, I'm gonna say, so Shae, you break cover and dash out. Slow motion, you can see some of the kobolds beginning to turn. The one that's facing you, this kind of moldy looking one, as you look at it, one of the eyes has popped out, and you can actually see bits of like stringy, almost like a fungus that is almost like roots anchoring into the face. And you can see the other eye, while still intact, is a completely milky white and glazed over. Seems undead almost. Doesn't seem to react to you immediately, but you rush up, you plant your foot on the back of the foot. You can hear as this thing is beginning to turn, but you kick off, leap about 15 feet up into the air. You want to try to yank this disc out?
Yep.
Go ahead and make a strength check for me.
Strength or athletics?
And howdy, Grixmon. And Nat, awesome. Glad to see you. This is athletics. You could do an athletics check.
That is a 23.
23. Nice. All right. So, Shae, one swift motion, you grab onto it, and it's heavy. This thing is not heavy. Sorry, it resists very, very, very. It's as if it's locked into place and it shouldn't come out. But you hear this kind of as you break whatever device is seating it and yank it out. Guntir, you from your distance, you can see as it was turning. That kind of single baleful blue flame that seems to be an eye almost kind of shift back to white. It seems as if you have had the desired effect. You drop down to the ground holding this disc. What are you doing?
Backing out. Away,
Okay.
back from the
Okay, so you dash back. You don't provoke an attack of opportunity, correct?
Nope.
Okay, so no problem. You grab it and you rush back. You make it to the doorway. I mean, you were holding the disc. This creature is now almost fully turned around. Morwen, what do you want to do?
You know what I'm gonna do.
Sneak
Okay,
attack!
Dash up to this creature. As Shae is getting about halfway back, Morwen, you pass Shae. Puss and Butt's already out. Go ahead and roll your first attack.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah. This is a sneak attack, yeah.
That is a 23.
23. So this little little kobold turning around also with the golem. You can see one of the eyes like not quite right, like it seems a little off to the side. It's like turning around to see you. That certainly hits. Go ahead and roll your damage and your sneak attack damage.
Nice.
So 10, 11, 13, 16.
1, 2, 3, 4. She's rolling them in order. Okay.
That's pretty cool.
26.
26. You take your saber. You take this not saber. What does Pus say? Rapier. Right,
Yeah.
rapier. You take the rapier and you thrust it forward and you use all of your momentum, this entire dash across behind the sword point. It slips through the kobold like butter. You don't even feel resistance as it goes straight through. You feel this very soft as the heart pops, and you end up with the guard pressed into the kobold's chest. The kobold is not all the way turned around, and as the head turns, you just feel it slump dead against you. It had 5 health. You also notice this golem, as it's turning around, just kind of stop. And that's kind of what happens with it on your turn. Are you doing anything else?
I'm gonna just
The body
and back over
onto
to
the
my
floor.
friend.
Okay, you begin to move back. So it's 40 feet there. You are using bonus action dash to get back? Sure, bonus action, no problem. You dash back. This is where we jump into regular initiative. So now the kobolds are turning around. They're realizing what's happening. Heinrich, what do you want to do?
Is it?
I think it's actually Guntir before me.
I think it's me. Yeah, I believe it is I.
Yeah, I only got a 14 on initiative.
Sorry, right, Guntir. Yeah, Guntir's up at the top. Sorry, that's very confusing. I didn't even see Guntir.
It's pretty rare. Pretty rare.
So Guntir, go ahead.
So it's 40 feet to the body of the leader.
For you, yeah, about 40 feet to the body of the leader. It's a corpse.
Right. Assuming that it has the necessary component to take over control of the golem.
You don't see anything in its hands. I'll say you read it recently enough. You remember that it's the headpiece of this golem. Should it fall and collapse in on itself, the first person to grab that and then insert something into it will be imprinted as the owner.
The headpiece.
It hasn't fallen apart yet. You would imagine it's going to probably happen on its turn.
Okay. I'm going to get as close to it as I can while preparing to be the one to insert something when it falls.
Okay, if you want to use your action and your movement to move, you can, with your movement, you can get to the leader's body with 10 feet to spare.
No, I mean towards the golem, so that I can
Okay,
be ready to take control when it collapses.
Okay, sure. You get right up to the base of the golem. You get to the foot. You walking by as Morwen pulls Puss out and fades backwards. You kind of pass her, going as fast as you can, and you get up to the base. You're right there. You're just gonna wait.
I'm gonna prepare the Electrum coin that I have.
Okay.
To slot that into the spot where the disc was,
Okay,
and then
sure.
On the next turn, hopefully be able to take control of this.
Bonus action, palm coin, no problem. You now are holding a piece of Electrum. You have an Electrum coin, I do remember. I think you have 4 actually. So no problem, you have that. That is your turn. That brings us now to Heinrich.
If I'm not mistaken, the pussy or moldy kobold, that's the one that's also kind of close to this current action.
About 45 feet away from you, 10 feet away from the golem, leaning up against the wall. You can see it's now ending its motion, where there is this streak of purple all the way around, and as it does, you can see it kind of shifts itself off the wall and into a standing position.
This is also an immediate threat to Guntir if he's staying right where he ended.
About 10 feet away from Guntir.
Okay, cool. So I'm gonna use my guiding bolt
Sure. Okay.
And it must be cast at its highest level, which is level 5, so that's 8d6 plus my charisma because of my thing, but let me attack first.
Yeah, do it. Beautiful.
That's probably going to hit with a 24.
Yep, that actually doubles
it.
Oh, wow, exactly. Nice.
It's
so mushy, it's evasive. Okay, let me go ahead and just give me one here while I do my numbers.
Yeah, for sure.
The mold just like opens up a circle in its chest cavity, so it zips right through.
It's right into it.
Math.
A lot of math. Yeah, this is a lot of damage that's happening.
Oh.
7 plus my charisma bonus. 25. That's 30. 32. It's 32.
Okay. This is guiding bolt, right?
Yeah, guiding bolt level 5 or whatever my highest level 5 spell slot, and plus my charisma because of the warlock feature that I took.
Yeah, no problem. As you hold out your hand, the runes igniting into life in this beautiful circle of magical symbols. This bolt leaps out, teal energy rippling across the room, igniting everything. You can see the kobold's eyes all dilate in the light. It strikes this like pestilent-looking creature, and you watch as the light overwhelms, as like this, it evaporates into dust. Give me just 1 second because there's something else going on as well. As this energy like rips it away. Let me see. I gotta load. This is an older session that I'm loading up for some notes here.
Part of me is also kind of just trying to erase Azra from having any presence on the earth. That's like the reason why I went with such a strong attack.
Absolutely. I need Guntir and Heinrich to make Constitution saving throws, please.
Oh boy. Nice. 21.
21.
Right. That is a 14.
14. Okay. As this happens, you can see this entire thing like ruptures, it turning into dust. Each spore like ripping first away from the body and then evaporating as the light like takes over. You sense for a brief moment, Heinrich, you especially, Guntir, you feel nothing. But Heinrich, for a moment, and for only a minute, you almost swear you feel something behind you before this entire force just rips whatever energy that is away. And you feel as if you avoided something very narrow.
Very good. That's very good. And it's technically radiant damage, if I'm not mistaken, so it's kind of like channeling Helm, or at least my patron.
Sure, absolutely. In this space, there's now 6 kobolds left. You can see they look varying degrees of panicked and confused. They haven't had time to really react yet. But are you doing anything else?
No, I feel like I would start moving into the room to draw attention because Guntir is defenseless.
Sure. As your arm like lowers, there are these like little symbols flickering out, and so you're attracting a fair amount of attention to yourself.
I'm gonna move in with the 30 feet just to get like kind of hallway middle near Guntir.
Sure. As you move in, it's this golem's turn. You watch it finishes the full rotation, this white flame burning out, almost a blowtorch of an eye through this metal kind of sphere almost. Guntir, you watch as this turns, and you can hear the metal as the eye turns and focuses on you. You can feel the heat from the flame.
Oh jeez. And
suddenly it flickers, and then the flame dies. The metal collapsing in on itself onto the ground, and the golem falls inert. That is the golem's turn. It is now the kobold's turn. So,
well, doesn't it trigger Guntir's whenever he was ready?
He used an action, so he can't use an act. He can't like prepare an action. He just has the coin in his hand. Yeah.
And that's why you're the DM and not me.
I mean, you know, I also wrote the campaign. I've been running it for 14 months, but yeah, that's mostly the reason.
That's it.
Yeah. So, Guntir, you see all of this kind of fall at your feet. You can see as the chess piece kind of rolls a little bit, there's a moment where it like stops, and you can see the area you're supposed to slot something into. But Morwen, and actually all of you can see these 6 kobolds are like looking around. There's a slight panic now, and they begin to like scrape and run and try to make their way out of the room. They're going to 2 are going to attack you, Guntir, and 2 are going to attack you, Heinrich, but they're really doing it as they are trying to run by you. This is not an attack. This is like
get out of my way.
Yeah. So Guntir, the first one, and actually they do have a feature called Pack Tactics, so they are using.
Do my stained pants have an AC of 10?
Yes, they're cloth. They don't have any. They're not armor. They're nice pants, but they're not armored pants.
Okay.
However, it does not really matter because that is going to be. Well, actually, it might. It's a 14 to hit.
I mean, my AC is 10, so.
Nice. Okay, so one lashes out with a very makeshift dagger, and it slashes at you for 6 piercing damage. It just kind of punctures you as it kind of like runs by. It rolled a 4. It's the most that it can do. The second one is going to attack you, and it is definitely going to hit. That is going to be a 20 to hit.
Oh, jeez.
I know they're doing damage. They're panicked. You can hear they're like shrieking as they do this. The second one hits you for 4 points of piercing damage, and it too skirts by you. You would get an attack of opportunity if you would like on either one of them.
I think just sort of like a reflexive slash out at them for, stabbing me.
What are you holding? You're holding a coin in one hand.
Presumably my axe.
Okay, yeah, make an attack. You're making an attack of opportunity.
That's Jumanji.
Is that a natural one?
No Jumanji. No Jumanji.
It landed on its edge. That was a 13 plus 2.
Yeah, roll damage.
7 plus 7? So that's 13 damage.
So Guntir, the first one slashes at you. It punctures deep, and your breath is driven from you as this small creature in a panic unexpectedly deals a surprising amount of damage. The second one comes up at you, and as it stabs into you, you're ready. You slash down with the axe, and even as it's pulling away, and you can see it trying to like push its way by you, you cut first through both of its arms and then into its chest. It sticks like 4 inches in, and as you pull it away, there is this spray of blood before it just onto the ground, dead. The second one kind of its way about 5 feet beyond you. But that is those two's turn. Heinrich, you're taking 2 attacks. The first one is going to be that's definitely going to hit. That is wow, man. Well, they're rolling at advantage. That is going to be a 23 to hit.
Yeah.
You also take 6 points of piercing damage.
These kobolds have really pointy daggers.
Well, I'm rolling this incredibly pointy
given
D4 that's custom made for us by Drew over at Dicey Encounters. Not a sponsor, but a great friend of the show. They've rolled max damage twice.
Unfortunately.
The second one slashes out at you, and that one's definitely going to miss. It's 2 twice, so that is going to be a 6 to hit. The second one kind of running by sees the first one slash into you and kind of figures that's enough and just bolts by. You also
can I get an opportunity attack?
Certainly can.
Perfect.
You also are able to cast a spell, I believe.
Yeah, Warcaster allows me to do that. I mean, so like mechanically speaking, because it's a little weird, I'm going to use Eldritch Blast, but it's a range attack. Can I wait until it's 10 feet away so it's not a disadvantage?
You need to make the attack as it's passing you.
Right. So it would be a disadvantage with that. You know what I mean? Like, this is also like minor because they're fleeing, but
make a flat roll.
Okay. That is a 15.
That hits.
Okay, perfect. So that's 12 damage. 12 damage and push as well, just for the sake of it.
As it's moving, you can see the first one that like actually punctured you. You don't even register the second one because you immediately focus in on this thing. And as it makes it about 5 feet away, the entire space around your hand blast, this rippling chill energy emerges out, smaller than the guiding bolt, but still, as it hits it, you watch as the kobold who's turning away, the eye actually pops, and then the whole thing just, the body flung, because it is dead, 10 feet, and it slides across the ground.
I feel a little bad.
feel a little bit bad. But the other one scampers by and is now running through. The other two make their way through and get to the door. This means that now Shae and Morwen, there are three, one of which has dropped his weapon, that are like panicking, and they're all right about in your face. Which would bring us to Helia, who, Shae, you can actually see Helia now pull or produce from somewhere a light crossbow. She's going to fire 2 shots. The first one hits, and the second one doesn't. That is going to be... Okay, so you watch. The one that dropped its weapon is the first one to make it through the door, and as it runs, you can see the momentum suddenly stop as like it and gets shot backwards. It falls on the ground dead as this crossbow bolt, not terribly long, but for a kobold, big enough to hit the heart. There are 2 still coming. Do you want to do anything, Shae?
I mean, do I get to do anything? Or is it my turn?
Yeah, I mean, it's we're at the top of the order. It's your turn.
Word. Closest one. Heinrich's now past me.
Yeah, Heinrich is in the room.
Cool. This disc, does it look solid?
It's a disc made out of rock, yeah.
It's a
Great.
copper ore
I'm using
disc.
it as an improvised weapon against someone that's coming at me.
Yeah, go ahead, roll your attack.
Throw it like a frisbee.
Yeah.
It's a natural 20.
Natural 20? Cool. Don't even worry about
Decapitated
damage.
that kobold.
Yeah.
You take this and you hold it almost naturally. It sinks into your hand and you feel the edge run up along your middle finger. And as you release it, almost discus-like, you pull with your middle finger and it begins to spin violently. You almost feel as if you can channel a little bit of ki into this disc. And as it goes and strikes the first kobold in the neck, you hear like a snap. And the disc ding, goes at like a right angle and strikes the second kobold. Go ahead and roll damage.
What is the damage?
Yay!
6?
Improvised weapon.
It's an improvised weapon, so it's I think it's a D4 plus either strength or dex. I've honestly never used improvised weapons because it's not.
I think it's a D4, I believe.
D4.
Unless you
You
have
need to
like
take, like,
Tavern
Tavern
Brawler
Brawler.
or something, yeah.
I think you're adding your
There we go.
So it's fine.
Okay.
8 max damage.
8. So the second one, as it caroms off the broken one's neck and continues forward, you see it turn right as it goes into the mouth, and you see it just lodge in place. It's enough to actually break the spine at the base, and so it like lodged into the mouth, just dies on the ground. That leaves. There is one left. This last one kind of like beginning to sprint out. Shae, you doing anything else?
Is it within range for a Fury of Blows?
I mean, so you don't have to use all your movement at once. So I mean, you still haven't moved. You can get into range of Fury of Blows. It's 10 feet away.
Cool, let's do it.
Even as the last one is falling, it doesn't quite hit the ground before you already reach the final one. Go ahead and make your attack.
That's a 26.
Yeah, go ahead and roll damage on that.
9.
9. So, in rapid succession, you see the neck break. The second one, like as it inserts into the mouth, you're already at the third kobold. The third kobold hits the ground before the second one does. Just dead. You deck it right in the face, and you can feel bone give away and muscle tear. It falls onto the ground. There's a moment of kind of quiet. You guys hear this ting, 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 as like one little piece of the golem falls off and rolls on the ground. But you wait for a moment, and Heinrich, you especially kind of attuned to anything that could be moving in this space. You don't hear anything. And for the moment, you are out of combat. Well done, Finger Gang.
Nice.
Yeah, we
That was a plan that went to plan. Look at that.
I know. Look at that. It's like, I don't know. This is the first like surprise assassination thing that we've ever actually successfully done.
Yeah, it only took 14 months.
I'm going to quickly put the Electrum in and try to take control of the golem as quickly as we can, and then say, like, let's get out of here before...
Wait, I'm gonna go look at that axe. I'm gonna go get that axe.
Oh.
Okay. So, I'm gonna say, given like what's happening and where you guys are located, Guntir, you're gonna go first. So you take the electrum and you slam it into this slot. Even as you do, you can feel the metal almost heat underneath your hands, and the bits of brass and iron that you can see almost take on this like electrum glow as this coating seems to spread out. The electricity kind of crackles back, and the energy flows through the metal, and piece by piece, you see it kind of assemble back into a now gleamingly, almost electrum plated golem. And you can see again the flame, almost like a silver flame now, raging inside the headpiece that you had previously held, yanked out of your hands and up into the about 30-foot tall golem. And it just kind of sits there, and you hear the soft of the flame, but it silently just seems to regard you.
All right, I think I got this working. I'm gonna like skim through the book. Actually, do you still have the book, Heinrich? Or
Heinrich has it, yeah. Heinrich has it.
Like,
Well, no, there was the aside that we took, and I think prior to that too, I had handed it to him to like. Read.
Okay, so Guntir, you have it.
I'm gonna just leave it with him. It's fine.
Sure.
Skim through it then, and
You need all the
try
help.
to like figure out how to, start getting it to move around. Like I'm taking it for a little test drive.
So as you're skimming through it, what are you thinking in terms of what do you want it to do?
Like, how do I get this thing to move a little?
All of a sudden you hear as it takes a single step, as you think move.
Okay. Go pick up that axe.
It turns. Before this is kind of as this is all occurring, you walk over and you look at this axe. What are you trying to do with it?
CERN, if it is a cursed item somehow. Basically, like, does it seem to give off like a really negative aura that somehow the kobolds are immune to? I'm like hesitant as hell because it looks very special.
Make an
just kind of like
check.
Yeah, more or less. That's kind of what I was aiming at.
Sure.
No, it's okay though. I think the golem can just have it. I think I rolled a 3. I'm playing a different character.
Fairly innocuous, it's a beautifully honed weapon. The straight edge that it holds, if it is truly carved out of obsidian, you've never seen a level of craftsmanship like this. It is razor sharp. The edge almost seems fuzzy because it's so sharp it disappears into something that your eyes can't quite like register. The strange rune at the base of the blade does draw your attention, and as you look at it, even with your abilities, you can't make it out. And that already kind of sends off like a red light to you.
Yeah, even I feel like I would hesitantly pull my hand back at that point. Like even with a 3, if I'm feeling that, like a quick cursory glance, I'm just gonna be like,
And you hear behind you this kind of, and you turn, you can see the massive metal form shifting, and then 2 steps crosses the distance.
I just kind of do one of these, like, go right ahead to the golem.
It doesn't acknowledge you in any way. But Guntir, it does what you think. So you imagine it kind of reaching down to pick it up?
Yeah, I was just like, I'm testing it out. I'm like, go pick that thing up.
And as you envision it bending down, you can see it seems to almost mimic your thoughts. And it reaches down.
Sorry, I was going to say, does it have like a Guntir like hobble to its walk?
It's as you're looking at it before, whereas it was kind of, you could see its arms kind of weirdly up its side, almost a kobold-like manner. You do notice that it does seem to have like a little bit of a lean to it.
But it had 2 eyes, they'd be looking in different directions.
It only has that seems to blaze forwards as a permanent flame. But Guntir, it reaches down and it picks up this axe. You don't notice anything as it does. Heinrich, from where you are, you can see as it picks it up, there is almost this kind of like shadow trail to it. It is familiar.
Okay.
Sure, tell it to drop that thing. We don't need that.
Okay, drop. I like start saying it, and then I'm just like, wait.
Clang, clang. It just clangs onto the ground, and as it does so, Guntir, this is like a beautifully carved axe, made from obsidian, a stone that is difficult to work with.
It's cursed.
What?
It's cursed.
Well, uncurse it.
Okay, and I shoot it with an Eldritch Blast just to see what it does.
Sure, make an attack roll.
So the first one hits with rolls a 20.
Okay.
The second one rolls a 28.
That
Oh, wow.
certainly hits. Give me 1 second here.
It's
Okay.
gonna like bounce off and hit me
Yeah.
in the face.
I don't know. I mean, this is a knee-jerk reaction for me because of the slight familiarity, and the other thing
Sure.
that I just killed, I'm like...
The Eldritch
I don't know.
Blast ripples out of
Yeah.
your hand and it strikes this axe. You hear it scrape as it spins along the floor and then sticks because it is so razor sharp into the stone wall. Doesn't
some
bounce.
high quality stuff. Why you do that?
You remembered what I used to be associated with,
You mean the maggots?
more or less.
Oh, that was gross.
Yeah, you were really
Oh,
gross
hey,
back
Morwen.
then.
Yeah, something about this echoed that to me, and I don't think we need to kind of bring it along. Unfortunately,
No,
as
those
sharp
maggots-
as it may be, you have this golem. It's great. Just use that. That's your axe.
I don't want a maggoty weapon.
No, I don't like the but that looks. It's very fine craftsmanship.
Why don't we try to find the maker of it later? They're probably here in the city, I'm guessing. I don't know. Helia, do you know anything about people who work with obsidian and anywhere nearby? You seem to be obsessed with fine materials.
I
Well,
am
obsidian
loath,
is very hard to craft, let me tell you.
as Guntir says, yes, it is incredibly hard to work with. I'm loath to leave such a high quality weapon behind.
I'm gonna be like, oh, I got it. I'm gonna think, like, hold on to this, store this for us to the golem.
The golem bends down, and you can see the two fingers gingerly, because Guntir is saying, like, thinks about how dangerous this is. This golem with two of its four, like, massive metal fingers. And it's worth noting, the right hand has this kind of red-looking gauntlet, a little different than the rest of the metal. But it kind of gingerly grasps it and then slowly picks it up. And Guntir, you watch as it kind of brings it back and then kind of just disappears, and you hear clang, clang, clang. It seems to just find a resting place somewhere within the middle bulk of it.
No, it's gonna poop it out. So we'll see.
Yeah, problem solved.
It's still going to be coming with us, and never mind.
I feel as though
it's
you
in
should
there.
either decide to leave it behind her and embrace using it, because it is a fine item. I don't see the purpose in bringing a cursed weapon along and
That's
not
what
deal
I'm
with it.
saying.
I figure we take it with us, and when we get the time, we can lift the curse.
So again, a little bit gray on magic, but is that something that any of you can do?
No.
Shae? And she turns to you, hopefully, kind of having already seen your
We
abilities.
can pick it real far, which
Well,
is what we should do.
I could, but, I haven't...
Listen,
No.
we're gonna go. We've got so much other stuff to loot. Leave that cursed one behind, and let's go get the fancy stuff.
I never get to keep anything fun. I think,
Well,
put it back.
And you can see this golem now kind of shifts slightly to the right. Clank, clank, it pours out of the armhole and just drops onto the ground.
There. Now everyone's happy.
I'm impressed. You have supreme control over that thing. What else can it do?
So, Guntir, you, considering it and having seen this, you imagine, and having kind of read some of the properties of it in the book, it is resistant to fire. You know that it is immune to piercing, bludgeoning, and slashing damage from non-magical weapons. You get the sense that it cannot speak, but it understands thoughts and it seems to understand common. You also, from firsthand experience, know it has a very powerful slam attack. And as you look at it and you remember the things that you've seen, you see that red gauntlet, and as it turns, you do see gleaming in it
The tile.
Arcana tile.
good thing we didn't try to fight that thing.
I'm gonna
earlier.
think to lower your arm so we can check out the tile. I think to it.
It kind of tilts all the way over now, embracing the Celine that Gunter has given it, and the gauntlet comes down to your eye level.
The gauntlet.
The gauntlet. Oh God.
I'm gonna see what the tile. The tile that's in there. I'm guessing is not one that we have already seen.
It is the same tile that you picked up earlier. And now putting 2 and 2 together, it is a tile that simply means red. And you look at this red gauntlet, all it is currently doing is kind of changing the color. You would imagine putting different tiles in would change the effect.
I'm gonna put the hair one in.
I'm gonna take the red tile out.
Sure. So as you take it out, it comes out, and all of a sudden the metal suddenly flattens and seems to lose its kind of luster and just becomes flat iron.
I'm gonna be like, Heinrich, put one of those tiles in. Pick a good one.
Which like it's your creature. Well,
Well, we need something that'll help with the distraction.
Can I tell?
I think this is a distraction in itself.
Right. Yeah, but we want it to.
Let's get fancy.
Can I tell if the rune that was in there is the same as the fire one that I've identified from the previous set?
I'm holding, I have the 2 red tiles now that I just took out, and the one that I had, and I had compared them, and now I'm just like, I'm holding them, I guess, and I'm like, put one in, and then
It's the one that I was thinking of is it the same as the one that has like the single circle and then like the claw and then the dot.
No.
Okay.
No.
Change hair to blonde. Change hair to blonde.
Well, I'm not putting the death one in because that's just too. I don't want to give Gunter that tower.
Great.
I'm a responsible tiefling.
I mean, I'm just trying to get this distraction.
No, not break. Not break.
I think for the sake of biggest distraction, we were originally going with dynamite, so explosion, flame, fire, whatever. I'm gonna put the fire one, or give Gunter the fire one. So if you know what I'm talking about, the one that the circle, claw, 3 dots going up.
Give me 1 second here. Circle, claw, 3 dots going up.
It's that one.
Okay, yeah, fire. So I got you.
The one above the death one.
it translates literally to fire. So yeah. You put that in. And so as you take this tile and you put it in, you can see there are these metal almost clamps that seem to close. They don't squeeze it in a way that would damage it or make it impossible to move. It just keeps it from flying out.
A gem getting the little clamps on a ring.
Yeah, fairly smart. Yeah, it's set in place. And as it does, you can see first the hand seem to kind of shimmer, and then the palm, suddenly there's this kind of almost like a blowtorch like flame. And as the hand just kind of rests there, now you see this gauntlet has almost like a permanent flame emerging from it. And you would imagine, Gunter, what do you want to do? You can just see that now.
Just to the back of the room, whatever you're doing.
I wasn't going to do anything. What, you think I'm going to have this thing burn the place down?
And as you think
you can, but let us get
the
out.
arm raises up and you hear
No.
There's this burst of flame that erupts from it and strikes the wall. The wall is stone, and so it doesn't catch on fire. But you would imagine this is doing roughly 2d10 worth of fire damage to this wall.
Wow.
And you can see black scores now on there. There are little bits of burning ember, but it doesn't catch fire.
May I suggest something?
What?
Just, since we're not bringing this axe, can we at least hide it or something so someone else doesn't get it?
That's not the worst idea.
Stick it back on the wall or something real stuck so no one else can rip it out or
Gunter, could you have this thing dig a hole and just bury it and then,
I am a dwarf.
Yeah. Sorry, favorite song of
I'm thinking could I have I'm thinking this in the hopes that this will do the thing that I'm thinking. That I'm could I have this thing punch down into the ground?
And the floor shakes as it smashes a fist into the ground. 1 second.
Drop the axe into the hole and then cover it up.
Pack it in.
Yeah.
The hand now open emerges. You don't see the axe anymore. And then you hear the whole thing bends down and gets on one knee. And then you see the hand into the stone in an open way. And then there's this horrible metal scraping on stone sound as the rocks are like shifted over it, and then each time
like the back
the
alley
embryo,
behind my house,
kind of turning, and then kind
All
of
of
gets up
my
and
fur
squeaks
sticking
back
up.
again. Yeah, it's a
time it
horrible
happens.
sound, but after 3 of those, it kind of, there's just rubble on top of this axe. It's pretty well hidden.
All right. Well, we've made a good amount of noise. That's probably gonna raise some alarm.
let's get out of here. Back the way we came.
Are we sure we want to use the one that's gonna burn down the city? Perhaps something a little less.
Well, what are we intending to tell it to do?
Well, given
what
that
do we even do now?
Because it won't burn down the city if you give it a proper instruction, I would imagine.
That's true.
But
we want to create a distraction, right?
Do you want to try one of the other ones? Do you want to try the one that just says break?
No, it might break it.
I don't think I want to try the break one.
That's kind of why that's the only one that I felt safe enough using. There was death, break, and then a bunch of other conditional ones. And dwarf, and change hair to blonde.
Change its hair to blonde. That's my vote.
I'm gonna are you holding these out right now, or?
I would point out the ones that would be more actionable versus, tell the golem to if. So it's break, fire, death, change hair to blonde, and dwarf as in terms of targeting. But I feel like that's very bad if we don't want to hurt or damage the city.
I'm gonna skim through the book. Is there anything about the certain tiles that what they do?
There's very little written about the tiles. There's a sketch of the gauntlet, and it's a faint sketch. It hasn't quite been finished. It's the beginning stages. This is something that was being researched. It never really. Okay. I mean, yeah, it doesn't. There's not a lot of information about the Arcana tile aspect.
Okay. Other than the Electrum, I'm trying to think of what is the best disc type of the ones that I know about. Because I figured Electrum is very durable. So
yeah, Electrum. So in strict game sense, Electrum gives it an ability called durability. It's recharge on a 5 or 6, and as a reaction, the golem basically can use shield. It can increase its AC up to +5 until the start of its next turn.
Okay.
That's not bad if we want to keep it around for a while.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
I will say you do know that gold, putting gold into it, so a beam of brilliant light will flash out of the golem's face in a 5-foot wide, 60-foot wide or long line. Any creature in line must make a Constitution saving throw. On a failed save, they will take 68 damage and be blinded until the next turn.
Do we have one of those?
Do you have gold?
We have gold coins, right?
I would assume that somebody probably has some gold.
Yeah, I've got at least a gold coin. What do you? I'm gonna be what do you guys think? Should we have it super strong?
I think for right now we should have it just be super strong,
and then change it when we get up there.
Any danger, we can change it.
Okay, well,
change it before we encounter.
In terms of distraction, blinding someone will be pretty useful.
Yeah, but it also might kill them all.
We're not talking about that. We're talking about the dragon now. I'd rather do that to the dragon. That sounds like a better idea to me.
So instead of a distraction, this is now going to be like a siege tool.
Well, it'll be in my mind.
By the nature of it, it's pretty siege-like.
I mean, I think siege is pretty distracting.
But also,
so we've gone from subterfuge now to all an actual war.
No.
I have this idea. If we were to bring it up and
when
have it go in a different direction, just send it in a different direction from where we're heading, distract and draw the attention of the dragon, and then have it be able to launch that blinding attack and maybe make it even more difficult for her to find out that we're going to the Golden Terrace.
Shae, what do you think?
They're already on guard.
What? then they would easily follow this creature.
That means they're expecting us to attack. As soon as there's a distraction, they're gonna know that someone's going for the terrace. They're already on the lookout for us.
You heard her as well as I did, I'm sure. And all she said was, if
Make sure no one makes it to the terrace.
No, if no one belongs, right? And nothing draws more attention to something that doesn't belong than a gigantic smashing metal thing that can shoot sunbeams out of its face. And that would draw all of the attention. And then
Morwen,
after that happens, we would go sneak around.
Morwen, after you ask Shae what she thinks, you can see Helia's face kind of turn. Yeah, Shae, what do you think?
My opinion, the only way we're going to find a way through is if we bring the siege that is happening here up.
To overrun the whole place.
So you want us to use this maybe as influence to rally the troops?
What we're going to have to do is more convoluted, I think, than just a quick in and out.
Well, I was slightly in the back of my mind hoping we might be able to meet with
Karotic?
my brother.
Oh.
If
awkward.
he is as strong and powerful as a leader, he's also probably quite adept. I never saw him fight, but at this point, if he's made it here on his own, I can't imagine he's weak. And he has followers, so there's at least that. But that is down in the Ring of Copper.
We're trying to get the lower levels involved in this just to steal some items.
Well, I think it's a little bit more than that.
We're not just trying to steal items, Guntir.
Well, I know we're gonna have to face the dragon, but I don't think that a bunch of peasants are gonna help us.
For anybody paying attention, you can hear Helia in a very faint voice say, well, I'm actually just here to steal items.
Yeah, I gather that. We know that's why you're here, but now we have a chance to do something greater. This might be able to shift the tide. And you might be able to, without having to befriend the dragon who would rule over the Gold Glow Estate, the Golden Terrace, where you might bring your clan to take residence. You would have to still live side by side with that creature, and that wouldn't be any more pleasant than probably your current living situation.
You make a good point. I had considered... Well, make no mistake, we're going to burn the Golden Terrace to the ground. It's a gaudy sight and not one that we would rule from. Nor would we necessarily be interested in ruling, necessarily, but
not really. No.
I had not put any thought into what we would do after the fall of the Gold Glows. You make a good point. The dragon is something that will need to be contended with sooner or later.
And now, with us this thing...
is that there's no feasible way in with the group that we have now, with the top tier functioning more or less as it always has.
And you don't think that the golem is enough to unrest the people? You think we need to get these peasants involved?
In order to truly create enough of a distraction, we have to bring the war up.
She's right. There are giants, apparently, on the side oppressing this city, and we have but one giant against all of theirs. Granted, it is made of metal and has a cool flamey handy thing.
Well, then...
That's just one.
Well, then Helia's right.
So upset.
Well, what we're talking about here is all-out war now.
The city's already in all-out war.
And I'm not saying I'm necessarily against it. It isn't a terrible idea, but I agree with Shae. If we're going to take this route, we need more.
So?
It sounds as if, Heinrich, you have a brother who is an option.
We
I don't
need to
know.
Find points of resistance in the city. It's the only way forward.
I cannot pledge the entire support of Clan Coldrot without consulting with the old man first, but we do have a stake in this, and I would imagine you could expect, if not support, then at least similar interests.
Any assistance would be better than none, especially from a well-organized family such as yours.
As
We
such,
can provide quite a bit of assistance, and that does lead me to an interesting thought. We do need to bring the fight up here. I think that's true. We have used... Listen. We are not perfect, are the Cold Rots. And we may, here and there, be involved in moving things to and from the Ring of Gold. And when we did, we had a bit of an ally. Clan Redridge, very small, just an elderly couple now at this point. But the elder Redridge, she can move things at a great distance very quickly. I imagine a little bit different than you. I wonder if we might be able to gain entrance to the Gold Terrace or any place of a tactical advantage if we couldn't bring people from the Undercity to the Ring of Gold and attack from within.
Like some sort of magical portal-like apparatus?
Or just the sense of
like
getting
that.
there. Who do we know?
My point is, we don't need a large force if we strike at the right place.
I'm more inclined to follow that approach. It seems unwise to bring up a bunch of non-combatants just to be dragon fodder while we try and do something more.
Clan Coldra is not full of non-combatants.
I'm not talking about just Clan Coldra.
We wouldn't include them in the ranks. We wouldn't try to recruit people who would be better suited taking care and taking cover.
Well, you know, that leaves those people vulnerable. If we're taking all the combatants with us...
You can see Helia now kind of regarding the golem, and you see like this small smile kind of cross her face. I do have an interesting proposition for all of you. Back in the Undercity, I don't know how much you got a sense of the layabout of the area, but we do have across the way an encampment of stone giants. I've never seen them myself, but I've heard them, and I've seen what they can do. Your golem is a great distraction. I wonder if we were to cause enough noise on that side of the Great Ravine, if we might not be able to use some form of rapid transit to bring the whole group, the golem and the things pursuing it, in this case the stone giants, up into the ring.
I like what you're going for here.
Unleash a horde of wild feral hogs, as it were.
I don't know
stone giants.
But yes, stone giants is what I was thinking.
Form of speech, yes.
That doesn't work.
Would not be very good right now.
It's a manner. Never mind.
It's like orb recession, where you're from.
No. Well,
a way of
something I picked up along my travels. That's fine.
Just ignore
him. I'm gonna message to Guntir.
Are you okay, Guntir?
Oh yeah, it's tickling my throat.
Very well.
I do think, though,
Also
this idea
to
of bringing the stone giants works.
Disrupting some supply lines.
Also a wise idea. We would need to find a way to discover the nature of these supply lines. And I'm thinking maybe there is a marriage of all these ideas. If we could find some way for any of us or all of us to infiltrate, we could perhaps lay low for a moment and listen to what's happening around the Ring of Gold. Figure out where these supply lines lie and how we might best disrupt them.
This is all...
I don't know if this is a dumb question, but how are we gonna sneak around with this?
You look up at this 30-foot tall golem. I think you make an excellent point. as soon as the golem enters, there is no more sneaking, at least not for whoever's with the golem.
I was also following up with that point. Are we going to go all the way back down to get this group to come all the way back up when we're right here with the golem already? This seems like an endeavor that
I don't think that there's really...
might
If
not
it's
have
more
the time.
securing the victory that we are striving for now, apparently, altogether, a little out of the way is better than a barging straight forward to death.
Regardless, whatever your goal is, just getting to the Golden Terrace is going to require a large enough distraction that is more than just one golem.
Just how we get down there with this golem, unless
Fight our way down the stairs.
yeah, But this thing won't even fit down the stairs.
Would it fit down the stairs?
It's destroyed.
Oh no.
Place.
No way. Yeah, there's like parts of the stairs that are like narrow, 5 foot wide, like winding staircases and stuff. Like
we never took the no. We never took the,
that's the
we never took
ziggurat. We're talking
like
pillar
main
stairs.
staircase. Yeah, the pillar of stairs. We never took that path.
So you're talking about the main staircase. That's not the pillar
Correct.
of stairs. That's like the central Kol-Taram like column. And
right,
so
exactly. The thing that it could fit down that we know
possibly,
about.
possibly.
Yeah, we would have to fight our way down it, but once we clear that, it would only probably fill up with reinforcements who would be less strong, because otherwise, why would they put their less strong guarding the most important part?
I think it is counterproductive to send the golem anywhere but up. Now, if that means we keep it here for safekeeping until we can amass an army, then we should probably go in that route. But I don't think bringing it down with us is going to serve any purpose, because then that also brings the problem of getting it back up, which is probably going to be at least 10 times harder. Look at the thing. It's fucking
I
huge.
mean, if anyone needs to go down, which if that's what we think is best.
I mean, products down there.
But they're not going to listen to him.
Heinrich,
It's going to have to be Helios
you-
or someone else.
Could you do the thing where you talk in somebody's Could you tell I'm sorry, the Birdman, Krodek?
Krodek.
Very sorry, Morwen. I know how you feel. And you guys can see this kind of not disgust, but like she's thinking about some stuff that they talked about earlier.
That everyone thinks about, which is like, what the fuck, why?
Yeah. But could you just message him and tell him to convey
There
this?
is unfortunately a range and a need to know their presence. It can't just poof.
Try really
them.
hard.
Okay, sure. And I'll try really hard within 100 feet to message Krodek willy-nilly. Because like I actually have no idea how this would even work. So it's just going to be like the direction of the tunnel area that we know that he knows how to get back to us from.
I'll say you can kind of easily enough because it is a cantrip, I believe.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. It's a cantrip. It takes like
all right, here we go.
It's a regular one action cantrip.
Okay, so it's a cantrip. So I'll say without too much trouble. Sure, without too much trouble, you can kind of like look around, fire it off a few times to kind of like
like hello.
Hello. Yeah, you don't get any response. You would imagine products further than 100 feet.
Literally not surprising.
It took you guys like almost 2 days to get up the pillar of stairs with all your rests and stops. It's going to take them a little bit to escort like a helpless tiefling down. And then Shae, knowing Krodek, he's not just going to bring her down and leave her there. Like he's probably going to make sure that she gets somewhere safe. So
she's going to work her little tiefling love magic.
I mean, Joe definitely described her as curvy multiple times.
Just imagine what they're doing.
I'm not gonna. So
no, me neither.
Finger King, you find yourselves currently just kind of like clustered together, trying to make a plan within the guild hall of this Gibbon Society, a place that is known for The trade and auction of magical items. What do you guys want to do? You know that around the corner there's this iron door that is unopened. You know that there is a partially destroyed wall that perhaps a smaller member could get through. Or are you guys heading somewhere else? What are you guys doing?
Well, look. You guys think over how we want to proceed. I'm going to go check out that room.
Something best suited for your task, your skills, rather.
So, Gunter, you walk around the corner.
Toward the iron doors.
And as you walk, you get about 30 feet, and then suddenly that creature like straightens up and follows you.
Hey, I'm gonna like wait here.
It sits down. You walk up to the iron door. The doors themselves about 11, 12 feet tall. They're bolted, they're heavy, and you, not able to really perceive the edges of it, would imagine that this is pretty thick. There is an element to this door that feels a little bit arcane. What do you want to do?
I'm gonna like, I guess, inspect the door since I feel some sort of arcane energy.
Less that you feel it, and more that you can see there are arcane runes kind of
Okay.
around it. Yeah.
So I'm like, make sure it's like not trap runes or anything. See like what it could signify.
Make an Arcana check.
That is 19 plus 2. That's 21.
Sure. It's not a trap. This is abjuration magic. It is designed to protect. You would imagine this is a door that is intact for a reason. You've seen the walls smashed on both the other rooms to gain entrance. You don't see any marks on the doors. And you have a hard time believing the kobolds will just walk by. Okay. This leads you to believe that this is a very secure thing. You can see that there is a massive keyhole, although you cannot see through it, which would indicate that it is locked. There are no knobs, but there are these 2 iron rings. So you imagine the doors are pulled outwards.
Okay. Recognizing that it is a very secure, almost vault-like door, I'm gonna...
Vault-like is certainly, it feels like a vault.
I'm gonna think like, I wonder if the golem could open that. Thinking.
All of you kind of like just kind of hanging out around the corner suddenly see this golem rise up, and then it's beginning to run, and all of a sudden, Gunter, as it just slides around the corner, it begins to run, and it like slams shoulder first in. I'm going to say, Gunter, go ahead and for the golem, make an athletics check.
Oh, jeez.
It's athletics. You're adding 11 to the roll.
Oh, nice.
Okay.
That is an 11?
Yep.
Oh, that's a 24.
Okay. It smashes in, and you see sparks fly. Although they are not sparks of metal on metal. This is an arcane energy that is rippling away. And as this golem pulls away, you can see there's like scuff marks on the armor. The door is untouched.
Oh.
But those sparks, I mean, that was a strike. Close.
I'm gonna follow this golem and see what all this fuss is about.
Okay, so you follow, and you can see the golem now, like slowly leaning back away from the wall, and the wall seems untouched.
And there's a lock on it?
You see a keyhole. Yeah.
Can I try to pick it?
Sure. You approach, and as you do, kind of pulling tools out, go ahead and make a lockpicking check.
It's a 12.
A 12? Do you roll a 1?
No, it's just that, isn't it just a roll with double my proficiency?
It's so you're proficient with thieves' tools, right?
Yeah.
It's a sleight of hand check plus your
sleight of hand. I'm sorry. Yeah.
Plus your proficiency bonus because you are proficient with thieves' tools.
Yes.
Yeah,
so that makes it a 17.
Okay.
Sorry, I was being dumb.
You take the set, and as you go into the actual lock, It's almost as if there's a resistance within the lock itself. There is a space. There's a space for a key and a space to be inserting things in. It feels like you're pushing into foam, although you don't see anything. And you get the sense that part of whatever this spell is protects not just the door, but the lock as well.
Can't be picked.
It's not that it can't be picked.
This is a really strong door. There must be some good stuff back here.
I mean, the key can't be too far, right? Should we?
I'm like, I wonder if the golem knows where the key is and could get it for us.
I mean, I doubt it, but I'm gonna check the kobolds.
Nothing seems to happen.
The kobolds around because they somehow got this axe. So
Make an investigation check. Interesting point.
12.
Might I notice this and also lend assistance to checking not the current room, but one of the other rooms that was opened by the smashing wall?
There was one other room, well, not open. Part of the wall is kind of ruined, and you could see that kobolds have gone in. You could certainly, I mean, it's for you especially kind of uncomfortable, but you can get in, no problem.
Yeah.
You
walk down, like lay down on my butt and like hold on and slide myself in, kind of thing.
Sure. So as you guys are kind of working on this door, Morwen, you're like bending down. Heinrich, you walk past and you see this exposed part of the wall. You lay down, you slide yourself through. Rubble kind of pushed away from your antlers, and you kind of stand up and you're within what looks like at some point was like a very neatly organized rows and rows of chairs, though many of them thrown aside, broken. You can see there's broken glass all over, and you can see that there have definitely been kobolds both in and out. The only thing that is currently, well, make an investigation check.
17.
17, good. As you pick your way through, there's a lot of broken glass and you don't find items, but you come up to this final glass case that's not destroyed, and there's just candles within it. And you imagine that's probably not why it was not destroyed. Kobolds can see in the dark; they don't really need candles. And it's just this beautiful array of just these white candles, and then a single black one within. And I will say, as you look at this, something about that black candle is kind of weird, and you notice it's faceted. It's round around the outside, but there's a single face, and it seems to have arcane runes etched into it. And looking at it and kind of like looking through the glass, you can see there seems to be like a tag attached to it. Oh, you said 17?
Yeah.
You can actually read the first word. Yeah, you can read the first word, which is Vassal Visun, which is, I believe, you can tell the language too as it shifts, right? It's Elvish.
Okay.
And as it shifts, you can see that it reads out he who can see. That's all you can see. You'd imagine there's more.
Mage hand to open the cabinet if there's a way to do so.
Yeah, there's like a little latch in the back, and as you kind of reach back, you can see this ghostly thing extends out from your hand and goes through and kind of flicks, and this little latch just unlatches. Seems to be, and putting two and two together, this was probably set up for an auction. This isn't secured because it was probably destined to be removed fairly soon after. The door quietly just swings open behind.
I get the candle with the mage hand and hold it so the tag I can read read the whole thing.
The hand sneaks into this little space and lifts it gingerly from the pile. And you can see the full inscription is Vassal Visun Hark Vihaust, which is Elvish for he who can see, be aware, or be seen. The candle itself, black, about 4 inches long. You'd imagine it is certainly magical. Without really kind of like investigating it and spending a little bit of time with it, it's tough to tell what it does.
One more time. He who can see. What was the rest of it?
He who can see, beware. Basically, beware of being seen.
Okay. I'm not gonna light it now, but I'm guessing that this is like a ritualistic candle. I mean, into the bag it goes.
Okay. You can add a candle of the veil to your inventory.
Dope. And from that description, I have a feeling I know what it does. Okay, cool.
This
Nothing else.
Item, man. This does not exist anywhere else.
No, but your description is what I'm saying. I think it's an apt clue. Anyways, do you say there was nothing else of import? I'm looking for the key, basically, based on what they were doing with the door.
You spend a little bit of time looking through the broken glass and the pieces of brick, the ruined wood of the chairs, and you don't find a key.
Okay.
I'm thinking maybe it's upstairs, and maybe the golem can get me up there.
You haven't seen stairs, and so you'd imagine that they probably exist behind this door.
Oh, I was thinking that I could have the golem punch the roof so that he would open a spot for him to just elevate me.
Sure, yeah, make an attack roll. Love it.
That is 19 plus 11.
Yeah. Roll. So hang on one sec. So roll. You haven't rolled damage on this thing yet. Go ahead and roll 3d8 and add 9 to that total.
Okay.
Yeah.
4, 5. So 14 plus 9.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. This golem smashes with this like the single flame as it closes the hand. It kind of like out through the fingers. There's like a bit of fire coming as well. It slams in, flames dispersing with the rock that breaks. And as it crumbles away, you can see up into the ceiling of the second floor, 60, 75 feet up, this vaulted ceiling. And you hear this kind of like shocked exclamation from above, something startled. And because it is 12:01,
oh no,
that is where we're going to end for the evening.
Wonderful.
Rocks raining down from the ceiling. So awesome, guys. You guys actually went back and found the homebrewed golem and all of that.
Yeah.
Heinrich, when you attune to that item or when you take some time to really look at it, I'll send you the description. There's an item card for it. But yeah, really great. You guys didn't fight a dragon, but you did go about laying an actual plan out, and you executed a plan too. So
yeah, we broke expectations by executing a plan effectively.
Guntir apologized?
And well, yeah, what the fuck was that?
Yeah.
But also, like, potentially large-scale grand strategy schematics too are in the works, which is like something I never thought that any of us
Let's start this war.
bother doing.
You didn't start the war, but you're gonna finish it. So yeah, a reminder for all of you. Thank you so much for tuning in, for sticking along, for hanging out with us. Big thank you to all the people who showed up. It seemed like kind of late, but Doss, His Pip, Slim Rockets, Nat Awesome, a whole bunch of people jumped in. Awesome seeing all of you. I know Nat Awesome, real cool, does a lot of like world building stuff on their stream, so that's super cool. Check them out if you have a chance. Next week, as a reminder, we are not having session 42. That is going to happen in 2 weeks. We're going to be running an original one-shot that is called A Tome in the Desert. It is going to be a very Egyptian-themed tomb raiding style one-shot that is happening in canon with our story a week, or actually now 6 days from what is happening currently tonight. So you guys will be playing in the future of our canon and have the chance to really affect the main story. We are going to have a guest from Fateful Encounters. Ashley Duke is going to be joining us, so that's going to be super cool. That is next week at 8:30 p.m. We'll see you then. But until then, stay safe out there, and we'll see you next week.